how the CDD works, that maybe he'll become level-headed about it, but just based on his attitude and like just his life events that have happened recently, I mean, he just lost his wife, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was surprised. I was kind of surprised he was still as involved as he was. I mean, it was like 3 days later, 4 days later, something like that, he came to the meeting and he was hot about something.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Try to provide those guys as much discretion as you can. It's tough. I mean, even him trying to push the email blast to the next month, it's like, if that's how you're gonna be on every subject, this is not gonna be easy.
No.
So, I'm glad we were able to get that done.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that on the phone, right when, yeah, didn't we talk about this last meeting? He's like, no, we've been talking about this for like 6 months now.
Yeah, make a decision.
22, right? Because I was telling Rich, it's like you guys, talk about saving like $100. I mean, you spent more time deliberating on this.
Absolutely.
Rack up attorney's fees, talking about this BS. I mean, you ended up costing yourself more money than what you just decided originally. You just went with the manager's recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get these board members to get out of their own way sometimes in some of these districts, but, it's always an adventure, it's always something we take as a challenge, and,
Yeah.
we love a good challenge.
Well, this is also something that's pretty unique to new boards.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, by the time you have like a district this old, even people that are new to the board, they kind of have a better idea about the CDD works. They're able to lean on the people who've been on the board for a while. It's just kind of a different thing. The first transition, you've got a bunch of.
Yeah, it's always a handful.
Yeah. Title discussion.
Title discussion, the best part.
Yeah.
It's like they all look the same, but apparently they're different.
I guess we don't see a difference between the two.
These do, maybe
Yeah,
this one, these two are different. Stay away from me. Players from here.
We have the green signs though, so maybe, I don't know, maybe keep the theme.
gets old after a bit. You can never go wrong with the nacho cheese.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped.
Keith, does that work for you? Because I brought one, because I told you I was gonna bring one that might give you a little bit better angles.
You know what, okay. Do we have copies of the agenda yet? Are there copies over there?
I don't know if Jason's got them on, but we can get one for you.
In the last motions?
This one gonna be about the same amount of time?
Oh, this one's quick, man.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one's gonna be about the same amount of time. I said, I hope this one's quick.
Is that the Appleflex?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had them for,
Since you dropped them off?
probably didn't bring these tonight, so it's gonna look at them.
Makes sense, yeah.
I can't know what the pop samples.
What the hell is that? Yeah, I have no idea. I was just saying, I'm still in Dana's.
Hi, how are you? Good, congratulations on your election. Yeah, I've never seen that before. I think it was like 504 to 503. I looked at it, no way, yeah. Yeah. I still have my.
Yeah.
Especially around that camera.
What's inside that camera? You see that? This way. Yeah, that would make sense. With the new roof.
Yeah, that fountain.
Okay, you're right.
I know there's a spot missing back there. Tom and I were out there looking at that.
Yeah, I called, there was a camera there. I'm like, I'm looking, like, what, could we lay down? It's not like I could go out
They
there.
run too much. I know we've all got the color for that purpose, yeah, absolutely.
That's what my kids were like, "Oh, you know, they put it out there."
There's your tree.
Good on that.
Go look at the speeder. Go look at the speeder then. Just like that home.
She's sitting at the adult table.
Hey,
he found.
That's you, yeah. What is it, you?
The playground gate.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Oh, he didn't hear that one. Yeah.
I've got like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, but instead of doing it on the record, I'm just gonna have you just read this. No, yeah, it was.
Good.
Support, yes. Attendance on stage, on the States. So that's done.
I did, I organized them all.
Mike.
Organized.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, doing great, thanks. Anything from here?
No.
You're opening that up?
No, I am.
Okay, good.
Nothing, no good stuff for you from it, like, not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a sign-in sheet around the corner, is that correct? Yes. Perfect. I've got agenda packets here.
Oh, she
You
gave
have one.
Yeah, we printed some off. Right.
937.
All right, appreciate you doing that.
I should say family, but it's gotta be covered with the,
Yeah, I got it. I'm just waiting on, because the guy that's had the camera. Yeah. How many one of those? He got here, deployed with the teams of alternative, do whatever that's later. I'll find a bracket, and we can show them later. Bracket. And then I'll just go deploy with the okay, I need two more stuff for a while. Relegated to his table together. I never got a name tag.
Thank you, sir.
If you don't need it.
I've got another couple. I've got another.
Oh, okay. 50/50, whether I remember getting it on the truck.
Oh, it's you. Brian doesn't even have like, Brian doesn't have any like fancy nice stuff.
This is all my stuff.
Yeah.
Brian?
Hey, how you doing?
I like Brian, I like being Brian.
I hate to see the abundance of signs.
Slip in.
There's so many signs.
Camera stuff still ongoing.
You definitely have a lot of signage for all different sorts of things.
Jason, did you need your folder back?
Huh?
Did you need your folder back?
I don't think so. I think I got everything out of it, but I will ask Brian if he can bring that over to me. Thanks. Appreciate it. See, multitasking has never been a strong suit of mine. And that's just me in general. We're not recording yet.
It's
Not
not.
here anyway. So.
It's not multitasking, it's easy.
What's that?
Multitasking, no delegation.
I used that word a lot.
Recording in progress.
All right, I'd like to call order to the Dupree Local Community Development District. Date is November 19th, time is 6:03. First item, would you perform the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on this agenda is roll call, and I'll start myself for transcription purposes and move to my right. Jason Greenwood, GMS.
Davenport, QTAC Rock, Daniel Ferry, CDD, Gordon Roberts, CDD.
Chanel Underwood, CDD.
Region Rose, CDD.
Fallon Martin, GMS.
Brian Young, GMS.
Tom Santos here, man.
And then also I saw Mike Manti with Cardinal Landscaping.
Sorry.
Hi, Mike.
Real man.
No, we're good. So we do have 4 board members present to conduct this meeting. Steve Shaw is out of town, so he will not be attending this meeting. Next item that we have is audience comments specific to agenda items. Do we have any audience comments at this time? Not seeing any in the audience, and I'll look onto the Zoom. Zoom, do we have any questions related to the agenda? Okay, not seeing any. All right, next item that we've got is we have the organizational matters. And we have the oath of office of newly elected supervisors. As you will see, you had 2 seats that ran for general election. Ruben Gross and both Glenn Roberts retained their seats. So congratulations to you guys and welcome to another 4 years of serving your terms. Very much looking forward to working with you both. So with that, that's where Glenn retained the seat 4, and then Ruben retained in seat 5. Resolution 2025-1 is election of officers. As it stands, that you have Mr. Roberts as your current seats that you have is Glenn Roberts. Vice Chair is Steve Shaw. He has mentioned that he would like to step down from the Vice Chairman or Chairman. He doesn't want. He emailed me this, so I'm just expressing that to the board, that he would like to come out of that Vice Chair seat. Obviously, that gives the opportunity for an Assistant Secretary to jump into the Vice Chair responsibilities. If we keep the slate as is, with Glenn retaining, we always ask that, if there's no need to change, then we would obviously look for someone to jump into that Vice Chair position. Would someone like to make a motion for someone for the Vice Chair position moving forward, or do we want to
Nominate Regan.
Regan Gross as Vice Chairperson? So that would be Glenn Roberts, Vice Chairperson, Regan Gross, and the rest is Assistant Secretaries. Glenn, would you like to make that motion?
Yep.
That's a motion by Glenn Roberts. Was there a second for that? Second. By Janelle Wonderly. All in favour? Motion passes. So, perfect. So, with that done, obviously, in the event chairperson can't be there, Regan, you sign other documents. Again, it's still the same. Everyone has the same number of votes and whatnot.
I can't imagine I would have. If you would ever not be here, because your attendance is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
In the event.
Okay.
Just one meeting in 4 years.
All right.
Perfect. I did not.
So moving into our next item, we've got approval of the September 17th meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
Motion.
I think that was you, Dan, right? Dan on the second.
Second.
All right, by Glenn Roberts. All in favour? Alrighty, motion passes. Next item, we have discussion of Florida Highway Landscape Guide. Regan, I know you were the liaison here, taken on that project. I know you work with Cardinal Landscaping, so I think if we can talk about the Florida Highway Landscape Guide, and then at this point, Mike, because I know that you guys have had some work, then we can bring you in and we can go over the Cardinal cleanup, hurricane cleanup with that report. So, Regan, I'll pass this over to you first.
So starting on about page 22 of the agenda packet, is the information that we received, which I think it's dated still in the 1990s or so, from Stantec, the engineering group.
I have a question before we go further.
Sure.
Why are we paying Stantec for this information when GMS should have this information on file from, and I would assume that would come out of Clayton's desk?
No, that wouldn't be on our desk. I'm just, what do you mean?
So, I mean, we paid Stantec a certain amount of money to do 5 minutes of research and pull the information that theoretically GMS should have already had in their portfolio of information based on what you can have on the road, can't have on the road, and whatever, so it's, you know, statewide, so. I mean, it's more a question, why are we using Stantec for that, why do we have it, why are we paying for that?
And to follow up to that, I mean, this is data from 95, there's gotta be revisions since then.
No, I don't think that there, I mean, I don't think that there has. Well, at least that's not the impression I got. And I do agree that this information is publicly available, so Stantec took a really long time, to get back to me, you know, that was.
It took 4 follow-ups with
Yeah.
Steve, yourself, me,
Right.
following up with them. I think the idea was that we, you know, the direction was to go from the engineer to get the state, you know, to make sure it was regulated correctly. We don't want GMS to provide wrong information. The idea is that's what you use your engineer for.
Yeah.
To get accurate information, this is what they provided. If it's not,
Well, I think, I can see like Glenn's perspective in that I kind of question actually our landscaping contract, like going forward, it seems like we would want our landscaping contract to make sure that all the shrubs and tree canopies are within compliance of the FDOT rules, and that's something that we didn't know about, and it doesn't, according to the engineer, it's not something that has changed like in over a decade. So as we look at future contracts, I think that, or updating our current contract, I think that's something we would, you know.
Aiding the district you serve in the manner of making sure your guidelines are up to date and for trees, bushes, and,
Mike, is that something that we can, like, you know, with the revision to the contract, like, how does that typically work with, like, landscaping, like, is it, I just want to make sure that we're,
well, even as much as it's a recommendation, hey guys, this section of road or section of median is 3 feet taller than by code. In the event that there's a car crash here, we're going to be held liable because we didn't keep it maintained.
Right, and I don't see it any differently than like complying with our obligation to maintain the buffer, right? We have, then you put that in a contract, like a 5-foot buffer.
In fairness, this is something that GMS, Cardinal boards have talked about for years and years about removing these plants. That's, and, you know, finally there, but,
I think we mean from a maintenance perspective, like we want to keep the shrubs to 2 feet, for example, and then a canopy, you know, 3 feet above the shrubs, or whatever the exact specifications are, and we would want to have that like in our contract, because that's what the law requires of us, FDOT rules.
sure, I mean, with putting there, that's simple not to do.
Like, yeah, I see what you're saying.
because I guess when the contract was wrote, the landscape scope of services was provided. If we provide that to Cardinal, you know, I think it's,
It becomes a standard.
right, and then there will be that period of getting everything into compliance first and then maintaining it afterwards, whatever that cost is to get it back to the compliance piece, because it wasn't part of that scope.
Right. In hindsight, it's unfortunate because it's a lot like, you know, the buffer maintenance, like they took the contract over when it hadn't been properly maintained, and we had to pay to get things back to where they're supposed to be, so it's just a learning experience. But I agree with Glenn that, you know, engineering really should just update us if the rules change. We should, like, this is something that's always been learned, I don't know that GMS is necessarily, but
Well, it's something Stantec should have been able to
not
provide.
making a prediction.
Yeah.
It's not something they should have charged us the amount of money they charged us for and all the research and all the nonsense. And it goes back to, I've said for how many years,
What's the
Stantec just continues to not be helpful to us.
And we're only, you hate to say it, but, you know, holding people's feet to the fire. I think Regan, it was, you know, Steve reached out, you yourself reached out, I reached out, I provided all of that correspondence of trying to get an answer.
Yeah, obviously a highly, you know, well-regarded business, so it just might just be an individual experience.
It's been that way since you and I've been on board.
Stantec, I don't know Tanya, well, I don't know if Tanya is, I don't know if
she's
Tanya's
coming
status.
back.
No.
Yeah, I know she's coming back, so I was just curious, you guys reached out to over there.
Well, it was, there was an individual that reached out that's kind of taken over the reins from Tanya for this specific district. What's his name or her name? I don't recall his
I
name.
want to say it's Tyson.
Tyson?
Is that right, Tyson?
Tyson.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, there's another engineer that I work with who works under Tanya, who's
pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Tyson.
I'll bring this up, I can do a rather request later, but
I mean,
then I guess the question for you and Jason for you is, are there other recommendations for district engineers that can help us out in a manner that supports that?
if they charge us $3,500 for that, I would be like outraged.
So with engineering services, it goes through like it's called an RFQ, request for qualification process. You would go out and publicly provide this, but there are very good local engineers in this area that we would want to provide them. They will see it, but we would also ask their availability, and obviously we would want the board members to meet and speak with them. I think someone that's I know there's how engineering works. Some districts have a district on retainer where they're just on retainer. With us, I don't think we've got we're more of a as needed basis, I think, like Dupree is. So that's something that, that's important, that sometimes weeds out a few engineers. But we would, if that's the board's direction, that could be something that, if you want to bring that up.
I'll bring it to that request later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already hijacked enough, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I think we're just having, so Mike, with these shrubs that we're looking to take out, are we?
I think he was gonna give an update on that.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
but basically, now we have this information, even though it's nothing new and it's publicly available, really. But for the future, to refer back to and to get us into compliance. And so it's in this, I want to make sure within the packet so everybody could be familiar with it and could be archived in our records.
okay. So with that, Mike, do you want to
Yeah, sure.
come up and go over all the great stuff that you've been
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, so I think, going forward, we could put that in the contract, of course, for the highway standards or whatever that is, but I think it's kind of like, we could just make that decision without involving an engineer. If it's a sight line problem, we just take it out, right? To me, but,
It's just a line item that you guys know it's in the contract, and that's an expectation, basically, is what that's become.
yeah, we could go around and identify any areas, that's one of the areas that we've identified many years ago when we first started, and it's just, it's a big project, and it's, really nobody wanted to undertake it, and
We have bushes that have come up to the bottom of the trees and some of that, we don't have money to take out every bush that's like that.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're out of compliance by FDOT, but I think you would probably say we would have to pay to get that maintained back to where it's supposed to be, is my guess.
the
So,
shillings.
I don't know what, I don't know.
Or,
I don't know
are we
what
talking that
it's-
same corner?
No, it's actually in one of the median strips, so one of the magnolia trees, there are bushes that are literally touching the bottom.
It's the
of
same,
magnolia
it's the
trees.
same
Right,
plant, it's the same area, it's the same,
right.
issue, and I agree, they're
Yeah,
terrible,
I know.
they're ugly, they're,
Yeah, I agree, I'm just saying, we already know we don't have money to
yeah.
ripping all this stuff out, but now we're not in compliance either. But I think, I don't know, is it in our contract or not, I don't know, but if it is, then we should be doing that without being charged. And if it's not, I'm guessing you're gonna say that's an extra charge.
Yeah, to remove plants and things like that, yeah.
For sure.
No, it's not removed, can we cut it down to where
Yeah, I
it's
think
supposed
for
to be?
all the other areas, aside from the ones that you're gonna speak about that we've already started on
Yeah.
today, and, then going forward, then we would have that standard. So when the guys come through and they're trimming the shrubs on a boulevard, they would make sure they're 2 feet, that would be the.
Yeah,
For the contract, if we go back to that, it's like when Steve brought up a meeting or two ago about, the 8-foot, canopy on the trees from the ground
Right,
versus the $32,000 per side or whatever.
right.
This should have been maintained, it wasn't maintained, it's in the contract, we shouldn't be getting charged to keep it maintained. And to her point, if we're trimming bushes down the boulevard on the wall, why aren't we trimming bushes to standard down the boulevard in the median? And if so, why would we charge for it, I guess?
basically, that's how we inherit them, we've got them at the same height they've always been, and so, they're center boulevard, I don't know if they would still apply to that same vision since it's in the center, but, so that's a different aspect. Again, with the trees, the price for the trees is to trim them and prune them correctly. It's not,
For visibility.
yeah, you know, but,
Well, there's maintenance, and then there's pruning.
yeah, and so that was that price, and then we also pruned the trees to the 8 foot, you know, along the sidewalks.
Right.
So,
And then over time, canopies get thicker, so then things like, a tree over time becomes harder to maintain, like, even if you do the 8 foot, it gets thicker, like where it needs to be pruned over a certain amount of time.
exactly.
That's my understanding of like a tree, like, you know.
And again, I think what we talked about before, when you're trimming the tree, like the one branch on the tip and just getting, you know, little, that's not the best way to trim, you know, to keep them at a point, but you still want to cut them at the main trunk or one of the peripheral limbs, ideally, you know, so, yeah, so like we talked about, we're gonna continue on just nipping them and keeping them up, and then at such time when we figure out a good plan to go through them.
I think we're so set to discuss that in spring,
Yeah, yeah,
to revisit that, the maintenance until then.
yes.
All right, so please continue and.
Yeah, yeah,
Go on that.
so obviously we've had a pretty active, couple of months. We put Dupree Lakes on the front, so I don't know if you guys were even out and about on Friday, but we were out here blowing, trimming, and picking up sticks and doing all the stuff. So we got your community pretty well cleaned up that first and second day. That we had trouble, we ran out of gas like everybody else. Our tanks that are, and we're like, geez, what do we do? And all the people we pay lots of money to deliver gas to us, all of a sudden they're not picking up your phone call, right?
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah, you know, they don't have gas either in the port and strikes and a lot of excuses, but, so that definitely slowed us down for a couple days, but, you know, luckily you guys are in the first wave of getting cleaned up, so hopefully you're able to see that and see that go on. And then, you know, just basic maintenance, we still have some tree work, we gave some proposals for some tree works that are leaning. One of them, you know, is out here in front. I know we've talked about that a bunch, but I think there's a couple more trees. There used to be one tree that we gave a price for, you know, a year ago probably. And now there's like 2 more, I think, coming right off of Aaron Cutoff. You know, they're not in danger of falling on the road, but they are falling and they're leaning on other trees. So we gave a price to remove those trees, cut them back to the wood line, and our suggestion is drop in the woods and let them do their thing. There's a couple more spots that was identified by Tom and myself to go around, and I think, you know, through emails and people calling in and things. So we've identified like 5 spots that, you know, there's a couple of our trees, district trees, leading possibly into people's backyards and sides. So we gave a price on that.
Tom, I thought I approved that.
You did approve it.
Okay, is that done?
No, it was just approved, so, you know, it's,
The way it was presented to me was it was an emergency situation that they were gonna fall on people's houses, is that why it was approved? And if it's not done, I'm questioning both of you.
I mean, is it, you know,
The way it was presented to me, so.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, you know, the tree's leaning probably about 22 degrees. You know, on the house on, what's the road called?
Tiger flower.
Tiger flower, yeah, tiger flower. That's the other one that's the most, the other ones are like, trees are probably falling in people's backyards. We were able to identify a few that were, you know, not our trees or wouldn't be an issue, weren't leaning, so we were able to wipe out a lot of the.
Well, Tom, when you and I spoke the other day, it was, hey, let's get ahead of the storm that's coming, which granted it fizzled out, but we're still expecting thunderstorms tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ahead of that, in the event that these fall, they were already identified, and we've already approved the thing, they're not down, and they come down.
Yeah, the tiger flower tree was the main concern of mine, so.
So what was the cost of, I mean, I don't see anything in here for that, in our packet of what was approved and how much, do you know? What it was?
Tom, you should have that right there, right?
And also,
And tiger flower, that one, is it the removal of the fallen tree limbs and the?
Yeah, it was that one.
This one here? No,
No,
I don't think it's that one.
no, it's not that one. we did take care of that one because it was on the wall and we didn't want to, have it damage the wall. I think, yeah.
Two cypress trees and water leading towards house after the hurricane.
Yeah,
This one?
yeah.
There was two trees,
Two
correct?
trees.
There were
Yeah.
600 apiece.
600 apiece.
Leading
What page is
towards,
that on? Or are you looking in the packet?
I'm looking at an invoice that was brought it was presented to us that it was an immediate need, because when it's brought to our attention that the resident says this is leading towards my house, it turns into, and I'll ask Bennett to weigh in on that. If a resident provides you a tree and says it's an issue, it's leaning towards my house, it's gonna fall off, like on my property, it becomes a liability on the
Yeah,
CDD.
absolutely.
I just
that.
want to
I
know
just-
why it wasn't the cost wasn't in the.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Well,
figure out
it's November 7th when we got it. And I understand what you were saying, Janelle, it's like, why wasn't it brought to the meeting under, I think Tom probably was gonna talk about it in his report, about hurricane cleanups, but,
Okay.
Yeah.
but I guess where we're at in the meeting is,
Yeah.
Typically too, so on occasion, when there's something that's an emergency expenditure that we need to approve before we've kind of considered the proposal at the board meeting, we might still approve it and then bring it back to the board for ratification. In most districts, you have a disbursement resolution, I don't know if that's the case here, which allows basically the district manager, grants the district manager and the chair some spending authority, so that we don't actually need to bring certain emergency expenses to the board at all.
Yeah.
And that spending authority usually is $5,000.
I just wanted to know where the invoice was in the agenda packet.
well, the invoice
Will be in.
will be in the December, it'll be in the invoice then, but I think what Janelle's thought was, it's like, hurricane cleanup, we should have brought it like here, like to this meeting, so you could have seen it, like I think.
Yeah, we're just enough to, I mean, you're saying 5,000, this is over 5,000.
If we
And
did
one of
everything,
these
which I didn't
is-
approve everything.
Okay, I was gonna say, like,
It wasn't
he's
over,
on
yeah.
the ticket booth, I'm not sure that's an emergency, so can you tell us what was approved of this?
That wasn't part of any estimate that we submitted. It was originally this part of it, but then we were asked to bring the price down or take some things off.
Okay.
And then, actually somebody went over there and cut it and did something and, piled it all up and it's,
So you guys didn't do that?
we didn't do that, no.
Good, because I was gonna ask why I'm still there.
Yeah, no, that was,
I
don't know who
it was gone when
The
it was
county said they
seated.
would take it up if we cut it down.
Okay.
So
More
we
than
were
the
actually
county,
told to put it by just the road.
more than the county actually came out and did it then. So the county right away literally is inches almost in front of the booth, so.
So they did it, it sounds like that they
Well-
did an ugly job, because it wasn't you guys.
no, and it was, the tree was, you guys saw it on top of the ticket booth.
Yeah.
And now there's like big branches inside the ticket booth. I appreciate it.
Whoever dropped it did
It did.
a not so great job.
Okay,
Appreciate
so
the kindness.
I guess let me confirm just what was approved and what we're moving forward with, just so that the rest of us are aware.
So, Tom, I'll leave that with, if you can.
I can answer it.
Okay.
Everything on that except for the ticket booth.
Okay.
So we just took the ticket booth off, and I think it was just recently kind of came through. I'm checking, because I know we might be doing it. We might have done it today, so I'm trying to.
Yeah, 43.
So the original was 5,850, you take away the ticket booth, $1,500
Yeah.
bucks, so now you're under the $5,000 threshold. And this is all related to hurricane cleanup items that were
Yeah.
deemed necessary for Cardinal to move forward with. They got brought to the chair's attention. We also received messages from residents that these need to be taken care of, which if they're brought to our attention and we don't do anything, I think we allow ourselves to exposure, but
Oh, sure, yeah, I'm not questioning that it was approved, I'm just trying to understand
what?
what was
Yes.
approved and where we are with it, since this is kind of the first that the rest of us are hearing about it, understandably, I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just trying to understand.
It would be nice if like we disseminated, like with the chairman, we just approved an urgent, whatever, clean up and we get some kind of summary, whether it's in the next meeting or the same meeting. Get on that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
You
kidding.
do. I'll just email you guys.
Well, no, I see For instance, when there was the accident out in front, I
Right.
emailed
Yeah,
the
yeah.
board members,
Perfect.
hey, this is being handled.
And that was very helpful, and now we expect it.
So,
So back to the ticket board real quick, is that something you can help us out with? And I mean, I was not paying for cleanup.
Yeah.
Not paying for cleanup, but you said there's stuff inside of it?
Yeah, there's stuff inside it, and they piled it on the corner, and
Okay.
I took a few pictures, I can send you pictures, but I mean, you can stop by there, it's, you know.
That's another supervisor
Kind of
request later,
done here.
about the ticket.
okay.
So how-
Well, if it's pertaining to landscaping, I think we talk about it now, because maybe we.
It's not related, it's not landscaping, it's directly related to the booth, and it's,
Oh, can I just ask about that, the house with the 22% leaning
Yeah,
scenario, has that been resolved, or?
it has not, I mean, this kind of all got approved and through the thing, so, yeah, we'll get right to it.
no,
Okay, so we've got those items, and I'll circulate to the board exactly what, everything that's been approved, that obviously we've all visually just kind of got a snapshot of it. I'll put it in an email very clearly, what we have, and then we'll get with Mike Cardle to understand the timeline when these other items are gonna be completed and finished. Okay? But totally understand what, you know, with hurricane cleanup.
The disaster.
See, we've had other districts, you know, there was one district, Park Creek actually, you guys know that one.
Yeah.
They had $100,000 worth of landscaping, like trees falling on trails and stuff. I provided those kind of updates. I know that, like, I did, like, that was, we were being bombarded with that kind of stuff, and I should have done the exact same with you guys. So that's on me providing that information.
We're always thinking of how we can do that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Okay.
more of those work terms, Brian.
I'm sorry?
More of those work terms.
Okay, so we've got, so I'll provide that update where we are specifically with this, this invoice here. Anything else regarding, so going forward, Regan, what is the plan for was there any other cleanup that we need doing, addressed right now? Because I know that there was the not to exceed that Regan was given, that work's being completed, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
The shillings,
Right.
Yeah.
Magnolia, and then, is it the garden?
yeah, the gardens.
So,
So the not to exceed, I think was 7,500 or 10,000. Is the Romana expense included in that, or was that, the not to exceed, was that just for the one?
It was not to exceed of 10,000, I got that, like, if that was the number, but it was to address the most, critical areas, and I don't know, like, I think what we've done so far, I think that's absorbed the 10,000 of labor and work.
Yeah, and, I mean, we still have to put sod in there and irrigation and figure all that out, but.
right, and that was all included.
Yes, that's
It's turning out to be, it is not going to happen at the, you know, we're not gonna go from shrubs to sods overnight,
Yeah,
because
it
some
turned out
of
to be a.
yeah, it's a really hard, really apparently, and you have to stump grind and
Yeah.
prepare, level the soil for.
It's kind of why it's taken this long, like, nobody, we gave you proposals for it like 5 years ago, but we didn't know, hey, let's do it. We had to stump grind every single one in the whole area, and it's a mess, but,
So the
Yeah.
3,500 for, whatever the company was, where does that money come from?
I don't know if it's Vermont.
Vermont's
Not
pretty
Vermont,
cool.
Vermont's the pool. The one that gave you all the information.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, the one that charges 3,500.
Oh, no, that's a Cardinal gave us a quote, which was not to exceed, you know, the.
Right, I know, and we
then,
used
but
up
that,
that 10,
the
and now we
engineering
got
fee was
another,
totally separate.
yes, so
So when
where do we pull that?
I don't think we realize this, and when I say we, maybe me, with all of us, like, I don't think we realize the significance of the engineering fee.
Well,
No, but it doesn't mean that we can't contest it, and go back and say, really?
Yeah,
They
Yeah, I think
literally
we
should have
should.
charged us 1 hour's worth of work
Yeah.
to provide a document and move on.
I
If
gotta
they
get that
provide
money
any
back.
more time over than an hour, yes, fantastic.
Okay, with that, why don't I work with Regan as a liaison with that, just to provide us the notation of why you charge this much. Was it back billing? Maybe, but I want to see that detail.
Okay.
Because, I'm just looking through the check run summary now for that.
I just wanna make sure, I mean, obviously, we didn't have a ton of money left for to spend at the end of last year. We have a super tight budget next year. And so we're approving something and saying 10,000, but now it's really over 15,000. And now we also have, you know, all the hurricane cleanup that is thousands of dollars that we're spending, so I'm just.
And just to confirm, that 3,000 for the.
Yeah, I'd like to say in fairness, all the cleanup work we didn't charge you. Setting all the guys out here and picking up all the sticks and hauling them away and everything, we didn't charge you. So,
That's a first.
yeah.
No, meaning not for you guys. No, I mean like other
There's not one other landscaping company would not charge you for hurricane cleanup.
No, that's what I'm saying, like other
Not
companies.
one company.
That sounded awful.
No, I knew exactly what you meant, because that's what you do.
Now, most other companies are actually setting bills or like rates in advance to approve before
Yes.
hurricane season, yeah.
Or they're just saying, yeah, bill for 3,500, and it's not 3,500 clean up trees, but they'll just send you a bill and you're like, well, you know, they don't even get it approved, they just do it. So,
Yeah,
Well,
so,
this is another reason why we need to look more closely into our engineering, you know, how we're doing things.
and then when we go over the engineer's report, I do want to go over that, because I see an invoice here for the monthly, it says $850. But I do want to go back to engineer and understand what they're, where we go with them moving forward, and then also I think Glenn's got something he'd like to bring up on the supervisor's request at the end, so. Okay. Was there anything else for Mike, or any more direction that we need to give him?
You know, the palms around the notice and they're going to get trimmed. It looks like there's maybe 3 that are dead.
Yeah, there are, probably so. I think on the hurricane, maybe they blew the heads off them.
They look pretty rough now.
Yeah, so now they're brown.
2 there and 1
I
there.
think 1 in front.
And then all of them need to be trimmed.
Oh, yeah, now that's a one-time occurrence that's built in. So, like, we just do that on the direction of you guys, you know, so we can do it anytime.
Anytime,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're good. We're good. So we'll do it. And then we'll figure out the price, you know, it's not too bad to take the palm tree down. We'll just do them.
There might be 2 or 3 of them that need to be.
I think there's 3.
That's a big
There's
project.
3 on it.
And, yeah,
Then they just close the pool area and
Well,
shut down the
Yeah,
layer.
it's gonna be-
Pretty close for a minute here soon, so.
yeah.
I have a question, there's an estimate in here for, annuals, I think it's probably, is this the estimate for switching out the flowers of the 2 end caps on each end of color?
No.
Each end of-
Okay, so the way the annuals are set up, it's already built into the budget, like a separate line item. So it was always scheduled to go 4 times a year, so only thing when I come to talk about annuals is,
What do you want?
what do you want? You know, what color we looking for, usually it's bouquet, and that's what we do. Marigolds,
And I
like
think
this. Marigolds and cactus.
No.
So we are ready to put in annuals, I mean, we delayed it by a month.
I was gonna say, I think we're trying to cut it, did we decide we're paying it back to 3 times a year, or we're just trying to do less, because we cut the budget for it, right?
I think it was less, it's 4 times a year, but a little less on
A
the
little less. Okay,
stuff.
so is this estimate on here, is this to change the one monument to match the other one?
Yeah, that's one we
Okay.
pushed until the new budget cycle.
Okay, so we're not covering this tonight.
That's the new budget cycle.
Okay. I guess my question on here is, there's irrigation adjustments, moving irrigation heads, so that all the plant material is properly watered.
Yes.
I guess I was just trying to understand, because we have plant material out there now, so is it not getting watered? or-
It is, everything's getting watered, but it's gonna be different because you're doing annuals compared to permanent plants, and you're gonna need stuff higher in different locations. When you do annuals, you usually have them in front, and they're shorter, and.
Yeah, because you had perennials where you were 3 times a year, but when the board changed, we went back to using annuals for a more fresher look. And I guess that's where the board
Yeah.
starts changed. That was before this administration, it was perennials 3 times a year, I think it was, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
or as needed, because they went pentas, and we try to stretch that out, but. And there's different zones in there too, so you're gonna have to reconfigure the zones, because you have, like, different areas, you're gonna just do the annuals, because you can't water, you don't wanna water everything all the time, you just wanna water like, you know, so there's that consideration when you're putting in a permanent plant. it'll have to be cut and put into another zone. So it's a little different than that. Now, the annuals, do we want to do annuals, or one of the problems that we ran into in previous times is if you don't, they grow certain annuals in a certain amount of time, they kind of sell them for a 4 cycle. So when we go stretch it into 5, and unfortunately there's a hurricane we didn't meet last month, so now we're like 2 months behind, and we're kind of a really weird spot, because now it's November, and really we probably normally change these out in January or February, so we're kind of, if we want like red and white, a lot of people do for Christmas and holiday season, then, I would think that we'd want to try to carry that into, January,
Push that past Valentine's Day easy.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, I mean, if we want red and white, there's a lot of choices of red and white. I gave you pictures and things. I can,
The white snaps and red snaps are pretty.
Yeah.
A little bit of the dusty going mixed in.
if you,
How you starting doing?
if you have that, and then I could also, if you want me to email you and you can pass it, what's available, because they have like kind of an updated list. And I can, give you an updated list. Honestly, half of them, we have to Google to see what kind of annual it looks like, but.
One of those summer right now got beat up pretty good by the hurricane too.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Nothing does real well under like 10 inches of.
So your budget line items for perennial flowering is, you have 9,000 in your budget. So, obviously this is a budgeted line item, so whatever you guys approve, it looks like you might have missed the first cycle for the annuals anyway, so you might be pushing through to the next one, so you might be missing which is a cost savings obviously, which is, it just doesn't look the best right now because we've waited, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the money's technically that we would have saved to pay for redoing the entrance up there.
Right. Well, the thing is, if we did it before, it would probably blown through with the hurricane anyway, so.
Right.
Smart people on the board, right? So, do we want to approve this invoice, and then do we want to? I know that there's a plant palette of colours. We said red and white. So, are we happy with the plant selection? Do we want to designate a board liaison to work with Mike, and the board give the trust that board member's going to pick out the right flowers, and then we can just get this scheduled and move forward?
Is it Snapdragon recommended over like poinsettias? Or are they more expensive?
Poinsettias, because you're using less of them, so it kind of works out, you're not, they're a little bit bigger, so, the cost is okay. But, the one thing I would say with poinsettias is because we're gonna carry those poinsettias into January and February. Do you want poinsettias in January and February? That's more of a holiday look than a Valentine's look.
They're probably not gonna last that long anyway. They're temperamental.
They are, and if it gets hot or something,
They can get like kind of big though.
They can,
They go,
I know.
sometimes they're like.
I've seen them like 5 feet tall inside people's houses.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay, I just wondered, but these are more, less temperamental.
They're considered winter type annuals.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida winter. We don't have winter.
I mean, winter this weekend.
All right. So with that, we've got the 4,388, and then, so are we good with this selection, or do we need to provide a liaison to confirm what we're using? Like, is that a Glenn? Is it Janelle? Daniel, you want any part of that, picking out the plants, or no? Sound not to use of that one.
He doesn't want those emails.
No? Yeah. Or Regan, if you, like, someone wants that. I know that Regan's working with landscaping and Cardinal.
Yeah, I'll do it. I like the silver as well.
So the 4388 is coming out of the 9,000 line item budget?
Correct.
So then that's half our budget.
The 43 should be coming out of just the general landscape.
Well, you've got, well, I went over to perennials because it's perennials, annuals are kind of like what that was, but it could come out of it can come out of general landscape maintenance too if you want it to, but I would keep it more focused for the perennials, but you do have that landscape maintenance line item on that.
So I
There's a
guess
lot more
the-
to this invoice than just putting some flowers.
That was my question, is the next time you go to swap out flowers, is it gonna be 40, I would assume it's not 4,300, because we're not gonna need to do irrigation adjustments again. But to me, it looks like all the other things you would need if you're swapping out swapping out most of this, and then I would assume you do new topsoil and pine bark each time you install.
That's only for the plants, that's not for the annuals.
So Mike, where's the one pampas grass that's 3 gallon, where's that?
Good question.
And that's on here too. There's one, pampas grass, I got it's $28, only one of those, or 10 turpentine size. Which some of those would be up for change anyway. When this was done, this was in July.
This was July, yeah, I mean, usually they go on the end caps, like kind of where they are now, cause it, again, some of the sides have like the grass etched into them.
Let me ask this question, can we get away from the Blue My Minds that go all the way around the edge? Because I know the purpose of those was for runoff,
Yeah,
but they're a pain to
yeah,
keep
yeah,
alive.
yeah, we can do without anything, yeah.
Well, I'm asking your recommendation based on what their original purpose.
I don't think you get runoff there, I don't, honestly, it's not on hills.
And that,
it's-
That cuts
is it,
that cuts down to $100.
Pampas grass, it's $28, like it's, I think you
We
can
don't
do
know.
away with that, right?
This
You
one?
You do,
Well, that one and then the 10 purple tide that's 280.
Yeah, that's 10, like, do you want
$380.
to take those out and put something else in instead?
Well, basically, it's gonna end up becoming the annual part of, that finish off that look on both sides. And, I mean, realistically, it's gonna come in
Is this
$1,500
based,
less.
oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
No, sorry, I was trying to put math in my head.
That's
Is
what I'm doing, yeah.
any of that based off of that, like, the rendering that Mark did, that you presented like a couple of months ago?
Back in July, yeah.
Or?
Which all this will change now, so it's
Oh.
December.
Yeah, some of those were, I'm still not,
And we could remove
but they were longer
Yeah,
term.
just take it out.
Like,
I think,
like
Yeah,
the
some of
red
it's permanent, some
line.
of it was, yeah.
so, I think Regan, you're gonna take the lead with this, because obviously you've been working with the cardinal and the landscaping. And you've got direction, just to complete this, like, are we keeping those purple tires, removing them, or do we keep it? What do we?
It's just, I know what it is.
yeah,
I mean, we don't really need to do that right now, because it's just like, we'll stick to the holiday plan for now. And that's part of a longer term design. And I do understand what Janelle, I think, was asking, and I'm curious as well, like, I always thought like the landscaper kind of just popped the pots in there, for like the plants that are just rotating out for holidays, and
Hopefully.
put the mulch on them and call it a day. Like,
yeah, no.
We have to, like, site prep and then re-mulch and all of that, like, for these.
For the, okay, so for the annuals?
Or like the snapdragon, for example.
Yeah, what we do is we put in better dirt, we take out like an inch or two of the dirt, we put in like better drainage fill dirt,
Okay,
kind of mixed with fertilizer, and then you put them in that. So
okay.
you want to water them every day, or sometimes every other day, depending on the plant, but then you also want them to drain. They're real susceptible to getting fungus or something, so.
I think we were just wondering if there's any way we could get away with, not having to do that every time. It's just a small, like 2 or 3 inches into the ground,
Oh, yeah,
but it's a lot of detail, so,
yeah, it's more than, like, imagine putting in,
so many.
Mike, do I have a recommendation on color wise for like the Dusty Millers and the red and white Snapdragons?
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably wouldn't do Dusty Millers and white Snapdragons, because the Dusty Millers are a little bit gray. And then unless you mix in white and red behind it, like a mix of those, then that would be okay. But a lot of people use the Dusty Millers as a border, because it's white, and then you put your colorful plant in, like behind it, So that's traditionally what's done. Most people don't put like Dusty Millers as a annual, but it's just gray. So, but yeah, maybe just a red and white mix, if that's.
So if I'm gonna leave this thing, then when does the board want to see these holiday currently, in by
No later than December first.
Is that doable?
of November.
Yeah,
December first.
I mean,
Close.
do you need another week, maybe?
close, we got Thanksgiving coming up next week and, and I do have an answer, we'll get those trees over tomorrow morning, so.
Okay, so do we wanna, I wanna set a realistic timeline, what do you think, Mike?
Well, okay, so what are we doing, we're just doing the entrance down there?
Yes.
And we're gonna remove, we're gonna take out all the Blue My Minds, we'll remove all those all the way around. So we won't, and we won't replace or do anything with those. And putting in, yeah, I mean, we probably can, honestly, I'll say.
Well,
It's not really,
what you and I and Mark talked about was a horseshoe of old.
yeah,
The green, whatever that is, on those grounds, that red stuff, that goes around, gonna make the horseshoe in the front. The end goal was this entrance and this entrance are as matchable as they can be based on
Yeah.
what's there.
the size and, yeah.
And that was where this quote.
Yeah, that's how it came. So again, we wanna remove the Blue My Minds from the estimate. And what other plants do we wanna remove the purple tie?
I would leave those.
Okay.
They're pretty in there, they're already down here.
Yeah.
Right now, the only thing we're doing on this side is the annuals are going this side of the sign and this side of the sign, we're down here, we're doing all three sides.
Yeah,
That was the point of removing that horseshoe of
the
bushes,
thing, yeah, this one, I think, right there.
something like that. I don't know, when Mike looked at it, or when Mark looked at them, they were kind of
Yeah,
very aged and,
yeah, they've been there a while,
yeah.
for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna have Mark call you and just,
I thought you said.
Yeah, it's, it'd be really good.
okay,
Yeah, really good, Steve did.
Alright.
it's just that Glenn was the one who initially
That kind of started the
Yeah.
process.
started that project, that was the only
So
reason,
we,
but,
is it
I'm
really
just
good or is
focusing
it?
on the holiday stuff, so, I mean, I would assume that you would wait until like after January to start doing like red pie and fountain grass or whatever else, but that's like a longer term design that you already started working on.
Right, but if we're gonna make a match for the holidays, then they still need a match.
So this quote is over and above what we have slated for our annuals. This quote is really to make the two end caps match.
So if you take out Blue My Minds, that would save you 40, that puts you back to 35, 40.
and does that estimate, include annuals? Does it have annuals in
It
it?
does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so I mean, then but we're adding that extra annual bed.
Right. That's why it's 400 and so.
Yeah,
This is to make it match and also look like holiday theme. It's both in one estimate. I'm struggling because I really don't like the way either one of them look, honestly. Like, I would like to have more time to, like, make them match, I agree, but then it's like, I don't really like, I don't like either one of them that much that I really want them to even match. Like, I feel like the whole thing needs a complete, like, makeover. But I just don't like the impression it gives. It gives like good, like, country vibes when you come in, I don't know. I feel like you could use a rebasing, but,
How to get a community, Dupree likes gardens and.
yeah, I don't know, I debate that. But it seems like this should be separate, like, it seems like this should be like, if we could separate the estimate. I don't wanna get involved in the long-term design stuff, I'm here for the holidays, but, right, that's my role in this.
And we're pulling, so we have $9,000 for just the annuals, and that's to swap the knot 4 times a year, assuming we can do that for $9,000 4 times a year.
That's on the perennials, but then you also have landscape,
Contingency.
contingency of 20,000, so ultimately you do have 29, however you want to spend it. Perennials, I was just going to that 9 because perennials was, it kind of put that in the same bracket as annuals, but if you went over it, you've got landscape contingency of 20,000 still, so
And
you've
does
got
the
that.
4350 from taking the trees out come from landscape contingency?
Yes,
Okay, so we're already eating into landscape contingency with the trees.
right.
You basically spend a third of your perennial budget.
The very first month of this year, fiscal year.
Well,
That's what
no,
my
it's
concern
actually,
is.
it's October, November, December is gonna be, you're gonna be almost 3 months in, you're gonna be a quarter into your fiscal year, because it runs from October to the end of September.
Well, it depends on like an invoice too, if you like an invoice in January, then we're back in January.
I just wanna make sure, we have a lot of landscaping things that we've talked about, like the trees and things. Are we prioritizing matching the end caps over something else that needs to be done rather than, to me, this is a want. It's a, we want them to look the same. Honestly, personally, I would never even notice they're not the same, but that's just me. I just wanna make sure that we're not blowing through landscape contingency the first quarter of the year, and then we don't have money to do other things that we really need to be done, like lifting trees or whatever.
Yeah, and I will say that like the Aaron cutoff entrance has a huge boulder, at least one or two, and like if we were gonna try to match, I think, you know, that's something that we would look at, for example, if we we're gonna get really specific about matching.
So annuals, are we doing those, are we tabling or not? Because I think that's what we need to,
I think we need to do the annuals, I don't think there's any question on
so that's the
that.
4,338, or is that, will be
It's
modified?
not,
No, that's
Okay.
1160,
So, say that again?
that's 1160 for each of those.
Well-
Take your 4388 minus the 840 out for the Luna mines, that puts you at 3548.
But that's to make,
That's,
That's
make
true.
everything
yeah,
match one for one. Right,
Well, is it?
putting the annuals on that side at the same time. We're killing now, we're only paying
Well-
for annuals outside of the other budget. Down here.
Annuals, that includes the annuals at that side, yeah. And
right,
then
and
so-
then we have to add the annuals for the
Over
other
here,
side.
yeah.
Right,
Same, basically another
Oh.
$1,200.
yeah.
but is it only 16, like 1,160 just for the annual? Because I think you still have to plant them, and that's just for the
Right,
plant
there's
itself.
no-
That's installed.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But well, everything else on here is for the match.
Everything's installed.
But then you've got the site track, which is 750, that would be included into that. And you said the number of
3548, that's, if you take the 4388
Yeah.
minus the Luna mines out, it's 840, that's 3548.
So is that agreed upon, like not to exceed 3,500 for the annual installation? Is that Daniel, is that how you're reading it, or is that, is that less of that? I think, Janelle, you're looking at it, 750 for the site work, 1,160 for the annuals, and then you've got, is the grass and the purple ties going in there as well? And then you've got topsoil for the new annuals of $375, pine bark, $455. So I'm looking at it, just removing the blew my mind what you said, and the 840 minus that, that's where I've got the 3,000. And that's down Collier.
And then, however, if it's another 400 annuals that are going in down here, it's $1,100.
So if we were just doing annuals on both sides, then it would be 1160 times 2, whatever that is.
Your annuals that you have is budgeted is like 2,800 for entrance in the clubhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's both. Right now, where we stand, and I believe on this one, we're expanding the annual area to the, to the horseshoe or whatever, in the front. So, so we're actually adding annuals.
Which means every time we go to replace the annuals from here on out, it's gonna be more expensive.
Yes.
And it's gonna come into our landscape contingency, because we don't have budgeted an amount to do that, right?
You have perennials and you have landscape contingency, so you do have you have a budget amount to do landscape improvements.
But based on years past, in the last 4 years, we rarely eat half of our contingency.
We're pretty close this year. Probably used up quite a bit this year.
What's that?
It's
Like
fine,
we're
we
pulling
can
it out,
move
like-
forward, I just wanna make sure that we're thinking for the entire year, not just, hey, we've got 29,000 to pull through right now.
I'm gonna do another assessment,
Yeah.
One thing to also consider is now we gotta get that project done and then get the annuals, because they all going at the same time, so it's,
Yeah.
that, it makes it a little tougher for the December 1st. We'll be dependent on the grower for the annuals, make sure they have them, and
Did we get entries done at the same time? Like that's, I don't know, like, why? Really?
Something like that.
well, when you're pulling everything
Moving
out,
things around, like irrigation and stuff.
Yeah, when you're pulling everything out, you wouldn't wanna put like, cost effective for us. We wanna put annuals here and then pull it out there and then come in and put annuals in one section down there and then pull stuff out while you're working in the same area if you step on annuals.
So just so you are, just to add to what Mike mentioned, you've got amenity center enhancements. So that could be landscape, that could be your landscaping too, that annual, that's 2,500, you have that in your budget.
I feel like we don't need to keep expanding landscape into 5 other different line items. I mean, I feel like there's clubhouse things we can, I don't wanna get so carried. I know you love your flowers and I'm not trying to, but I think we're getting carried away trying to look for all these different line items where we can pull landscaping from. I mean, we have a line item for different things for a reason, so.
Well, we're gonna change, man, that's part of having different buckets, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom line, if it's $1 million budget, you spend $750,000, and it's going to be flat.
I understand that, but I don't feel we should be spending extra money on landscaping. I mean, there are plenty of other, we could pay for events for the community, we can do different, not if we keep pulling from all these different areas, I mean, it's.
Okay, so we've hashed this out for a while, and I know we've had a healthy discussion with it. What do we want to do? Can someone make a motion, and then we'll see if we
can
can.
approve the annuals for both, and, you know.
For both
the clubhouse and
entrances?
both entrances, yes.
Okay, and then do we have a not to exceed number on that?
Okay, real quick,
So we're not moving forward with this?
are we just approving, because the annuals, forgive me if I overstep, but annuals are already in the budget, so
Right.
that's not something, like, if we're just gonna do annuals, it's just, we're gonna pick out red and white, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then if we're gonna change things down there, then obviously that's.
I really want to give the landscape designer revisit on the entrances, so I'm a little more dialed in at the moment. So, if you would be patient, and because I'd like to work with Mark and to see if there's anything else we could do to modernize both entrances, outside of, within the same, budget that you guys have already kind of talked about and stuff, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like to work with Mark on the refacing those areas. So I'm not comfortable proving anything, I feel like it'll be like a tattoo that I wasn't happy with, and I picked up off the wall.
That's a tough nut, yeah, tough. So I had a motion by, Regan provided a motion to approve the annuals, and that will be,
And Mike said it's a budget,
Already
we're
there,
gonna
just
go
pick a
with it.
color.
If we're not expanding the horseshoe
okay.
right now.
So Cardinal Landscaping move forward with the annual rotation for both entrances. We'll revisit this again in August, but Regan, you're gonna be the liaison working with Cardinal.
Yeah, I'll be on this right away. For, mapping,
Yep.
alternative mapping theme.
Okay.
One last thing for you, Mike, I apologize.
No, you're fine.
We kept it forever. There's actually a resident here, Mr. King, that, has came to me a couple of times about buffer behind his home. He's on Cherokee Road, strictly across from my home.
Okay.
On the lakeside or whatever.
Okay,
And so if that's water, that's a tree, instead of when your guy's going, hey, make the tree go away, they take their lawnmower and round. So instead of the buffer being where it's supposed to be, now the buffer is 4 feet.
Yeah, they did
6
that
feet.
when I wheeled on Cherokee Road, they
Yeah,
did the exact same
there's
thing.
a lot of that that's.
Okay.
that's going on.
so they're not going past the tree?
Maybe, so if something's fell,
Oh, you're talking a tree limb?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and trees and everything else, but like when all that we paid for this 2.5 years ago, a lot of that had re-encroached.
Okay,
So it's whoever the site supervisors are, making sure that, the guys are doing what they're supposed to do and the whole thing out.
Okay.
If there's a tree limb that's fallen, in multiple areas or whatever, instead of just continuing to go around it.
yeah,
Call
yeah,
the other guy with a pole saw and wants to chop it up and.
yeah. Okay. Can I get your address?
22595.
22595, okay. Our tree guy's gonna be here tomorrow, so we'll take a look at it and How big is it approximately, do you?
There's one tree that fell down 2 houses down from me with Milton, that's probably about a 30-foot diameter, the way the branches
Oh.
are laying out there. It's pretty big.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
then
can see why they're going
the
around it.
house right, when you face my house to the very left, you'll be able to see where the tree line was and how far they are. It's about 14 to 16 feet that is not being cut, and now you've got everything encroaching.
Okay. Our tree guy will be there, and then I'll take a look at it this week for you. Not tomorrow for me, but I will take a look at it.
I appreciate it, thanks.
Good, thank you.
All right, was there anything for Cardinal to put on their radar or anything?
Buffer inspection everywhere.
Yeah. It's, now's the time to do it. We can go through and start moving stuff back, so. We'll definitely let the guys know to push it a little bit.
Yeah, don't drive around, drive over.
Yeah.
Well, it is at 30 trees, so they're, but we'll get it.
Okay, even on the boulevard, I noticed that, well, like the, encroachment, wilderness.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Okay, good.
thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All righty.
All right, no problem.
Okay, so we're moving into our next item, and I have it as we have staff items. We have district engineer. There was nothing to report on other than taking a while to receive information. Maybe this is the point that you want to talk on the supervisor's request, what you would like staff direction that you're thinking.
Find us a new engineer that actually responds and can respond with it. So I'll use the attorney as an example, the attorney as an example. When we started researching attorneys and finding new attorneys, it was the attorneys dropping the ball on other attorneys, a lot of stuff, because they just didn't know. And Kentucky Rock came in, they've been phenomenal with, yes, we already know this, we were billing you 30 minutes because we don't need to go spend 3 days researching and just get that. And I feel like that's where, over the last 4 years that I've been on the board at least, Stantec continues to overcharge because they just don't know, or they drop the ball because they're too busy, or whatever that example is. So at least my opinion and direction would be, who other than Stantec is out there that works with Pasco County, that knows Pasco County, has the relationship that we need in Pasco County to continue for all of us to be able to succeed and not break us on cost.
I think there's just that attentiveness that the board's seeking, and we've asked for it, and it's just not happened since.
We had a conversation 2.5 years ago about Tanya specifically.
And then Tanya started, and then she started coming, being more involved, and that was great, but now I don't know the status with Tanya at the moment. They said that her work allocation was covered, and I guess there was,
Whispers I've heard, she's not coming back at all, so I don't know.
yeah.
But I don't know the status, I haven't really audited too.
I just think from a community's perspective, we're not moving fast enough on things, and so
Right.
if anybody, anything like that we're paying a lot of money for, that's gonna slow us down unnecessarily, we don't want that.
Okay, so with that, I mean, the process, what we would do, Bennett, if you want to just express.
Yeah, so for service like the engineer, it would be an RFQ, not an RFP. Pretty much very similar. The only real difference, I guess, that you guys would need to know about is we can't ask about price. So the submissions are a little bit different. They would have to send out a qualification statement, a couple other things, but that's basically the long and short of it. We would publish a notice. Notice has to be published at least 14 days before the deadline. And then we, in addition to the submissions that we need to send to us, we would also have evaluation criteria that we would use to evaluate the different proposals we received, assuming we received more than one. Well, actually, even if we received only one, we'd still have to go through the exercise of ranking them. But yeah, so that's the point. So,
And they would have to resubmit as well, right?
they would have to submit, yeah.
They may or may not.
They may or may not,
Yeah.
depending.
Actually, now that I think of it, they wouldn't have to resubmit necessarily. You could see the proposals you received and say, well, we just don't want to. We would reserve the right in the RFQ to actually not award a contract to anyone. So assuming you didn't terminate the agreement with Stantec, I mean, that's one with it's an indefinite term. So until you terminate it, will continue. So you
Is
can
there
go to
anything
RFQ.
you need to know about as far as they need a 7 days notice, like some of the contract, 30 days notice?
They would typically have, I would imagine a 30-day notice minimum. That's pretty standard. So with that, I think we would look for a motion to approve to initiate staff to work on the RFQ process for.
And what is the timing, or, so do we want me to bring back the, notice, evaluation criteria at the next meeting, approve it then, and then we'll issue the, RFQ? Does that timeline work for you, or did you want something quicker?
Well, there's two things. There's a standard RFQ point system. Typically, you're statutorily stuck with these criteria, but the board can make it weighted.
Yeah, you can weight it differently.
Like sometimes people, like district engineers, they might say, Glenn might say, you know what, price is more important. I'm going to give that 25 points over quality, which is 15 points, whatever. But standard, like you can't deviate from these guidelines, and it's 20 points each one. If you want to authorize the standard documentation, I think Bennett can get this turned around quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I can do that right now. We can discuss different categories and standard weights and dates if you guys want. We can go ahead and that's why I was asking, do you want to go ahead and authorize this right now? I can, read off the sort of dates that I would need, the evaluation criteria. You guys can approve all that stuff now, and we can go ahead after this meeting and publish it and get it posted back in time for December. That's what you want to do. Okay. All right.
Unless any, like that's, I think we take a motion to move forward and then we'll go over the criteria. We have a motion that the board want to initiate staff to move forward with the RFQ process. Motion by Glenn, second by Regan, all in favor? Alrighty. You know, that was an aye, right? Okay. And then just what the point system is.
Yeah, so, and again, you can kind of customize these, however you guys want. Here's a standard weighting system though, so we have 7 criteria here. Ability and adequacy of professional personnel for 25 points. Consultants' past performance, 25 points. Geographic location, 20 points. Willingness to meet time and budget requirements, 15 points. Certified minority business enterprise, 5 points. Recent, current, and projected workload, 5 points. And then volume of work previously awarded to consultant by district, 5 points. Okay. Okay. And then we'll make the, what do you think? We give the holidays, I think we probably, and we have to be, agenda comes out 7 days in advance. Next meeting's the 17th, so the 10th is the submission deadline.
I think that's too quick. I think you might want to just wait until the January meeting. Because you don't want to miss someone because they said it's too near the holidays.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you wait, if you pushed it if you put it in January, that gives more than enough people to, look, there's a need for an engineer, but it's not an emergency case, so I think we want a better, more engaged engineer for sure. That's what I'm hearing. You guys have been you've given Stantec every opportunity.
Yeah,
to work.
Caution anyone about asking any engineering questions for that code one.
Right.
So,
Okay. Speaking of the date, 10 days before the January meeting, something like that?
Yep, I think that'll work great. Your January meeting is scheduled for the 21st.
Okay.
So you would want that back by
I think it's
Friday the 10th. I think it's probably best because then that's, the 11th is the Saturday as well. And then they've got, when we receive those, we'll have a week to get that into the agenda. You guys can see what we've received.
All right. I'd rather have too many people and not good ones.
Right. Okay. Great, so moving into, any more discussions on that? Alrighty, next item that we have the field manager's report. I know we've been speaking with Bennett, so why don't we just continue with the district council's report? Do we want to go on that, Bennett?
Sure. Yeah, not a whole lot going on in my world recently. Parcel pending, kind of still in a holding pattern. Jared did talk to, they hired a new council, which I believe I discussed with you guys in September. Claudia did. We got on the phone with these attorneys out of New York. I'm not sure how much they actually know about the case, which we assigned them. We kind of had a call to get them up to speed on everything that's kind of happened, since we first kind of, terminated the agreement to the extent that one existed ever in the first place, and began sort of correspondence going back and forth. So they haven't responded since we had that call with them, that initial call. So we'll update you guys if they provide us anything else, but that's kind of where we are there. Dupree Lakes Boulevard, so Public Works has officially approved the functional roadway classification map. So Dupree Lakes Boulevard is now a major collector road. This, if you'll recall, means that we are kind of, that the district can potentially get on their schedule to repay. They have a 3-year schedule. So I'm in the process of discussing with Public Works to see what we need to do to actually get on that schedule.
Thank you for pushing that along.
Yeah, of course, and I'll keep, and I'll, nothing. What's that? Yeah, very good, very good, yeah. So I'll let you know if there's anything more substantive on that front, but that's all I have for you right now. Still in discussions with them on how we can get Dupree Lakes on that schedule as soon as possible. That's all I have for you guys. Happy to answer any other questions you might have about any of that.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Moving into Tom, got your report now. Can you go over that?
How's it going, guys? So the first one I want to go over is the lighting situation with the vendor. So we just really didn't have a good experience with that vendor. I was reaching out constantly, and we kind of just lost faith in that he could complete the job at the standard that we wanted to. So we came up with
This is the boiler.
The boiler.
So the issue was that he came out to site, just to give you a little bit more of a detail on it, came out to site, couldn't remove the bollard, not one. He came out a second time and just text Tom, says, I can't do this anymore. I then reached out to Bennett, because we had an agreement that they signed, but there was nothing that we can hold their feet to the fire to say, I think Bennett, you mentioned that there was no damages incurred, so there was nothing that we could really say, hey, you need to complete this. It was an agreement, but so there was another proposal that you did receive several months ago, and it was 4 times the amount of money for the boulevards. I think it was like over 40,000 to replace them. 36 maybe. Yeah. And then this is now, look, we need to fix this. So this is where Clayton and Tom team have thought of an idea of.
Okay.
I know that.
Yeah.
Were you out on site for almost a couple of
Yeah, me and Garrett took about 3 hours to get one off because all of the hardware in it is so corroded because it's so old that we tried the first one, tried the second one, got to the third one and got it off.
You run into it, or?
Huh?
You run into it, or?
Yeah, I mean, we were one blower away from, bringing out the car, I think.
Yeah.
You don't have WD for it?
But yeah, so me and Clayton devised a plan with the plasma covers. They're made out of aluminum, so you can cut the base probably about 6 inches over the bottom, and then it eliminates having to take apart the whole top, because once you open up the top there's like 4 layers of hardware that we just had a tough time doing with hand tools. This will just eliminate that, and we can do it a lot faster for a lot cheaper. Clayton had set a price at $7,500 was the not to exceed. He thinks it's going to come in way under that. That's just the not to exceed.
But that's just to cut them off.
That's getting them off and getting rid of them, which was a major point of the price on the other ones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would be pretty cheap, and then we can go from there and just have an install instead of an install and a haul away. So it kind of gets the ball rolling.
And that's removing every single one that's not working.
Yeah, it's the old styles.
Right.
The oil lamps that are burnt out.
Right, and then that's adding, that's not adding, but it's removing every single one that's non-functional.
Yep.
And
then capping the wires, and then capping that, and they're still gonna be functional after, so that's when we're gonna go into the next phase of
where we're
putting it, and we'll have the power to do that in the area that we capped off.
So
So are you putting, it sounds like you're cutting, that sounds like it's dangerous, are you putting some
We're-
of the cappers?
Yeah, so we have to cut it to get it off, and then we can get the bottom, it takes like an hour and a half to get down there and get it. And then we cap it off with a structured plate mat. So, there's not gonna be any exposed wires, this should still all be functional, so. That's kind of the best way to do it, we went through a lot of different options. That's definitely gonna be the most cost effective as well, so. Because when I was talking to the vendors, that was the biggest problem, was there's so many of them, you have to cap them, you have to, but we will do that, and then the next, when we end up in the lighting, the price should be slashed.
Do you have a plan for the lighting or options?
Yeah, so we're gonna make sure that they're all functional once we get down there, and then we were gonna do the other ballers, unless you guys didn't wanna do that, we were gonna get the same type of baller and put on there, or do you guys wanna just put the free, standing structures? Like, we have two out there that are working pretty well.
I don't know, sorry, I hesitate to put the same thing on if it would be just as difficult to remove in the future. I don't know if now it's like plastic.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as difficult as those ones are just kinda 20 years
It will
old.
change to an LED light that. If
Yeah.
the bulb went out,
Yeah.
put the new LED in, close it on the top, it's a little bit, not the oil lamps. that you-
Whoever decided to design that one, it was like a one and done, like that was it and that was it.
That was back in 2006.
Yeah, so
or
there's
7.
no way to change any bulbs or anything, it's just kind of,
Sometimes, maintenance wise, it's pretty good, but sometimes people, they do get knocked over a bit.
yeah.
So are you saying you would you would uncap them and then put the lights where the current?
Yeah, so the
are?
wires would still work for the
Okay.
new light, so that wouldn't be an issue. It would just, we would cap the ones that we're not using, so it's not exposed wires.
Timeline from start to end, where are you looking at, Tom? Just timeline from start to end, where are you looking at?
To remove them,
To remove them, yeah.
couple days, yeah, not anything wild. It would be.
That's when we start, but I think we need to confirm the actual scheduling of it, because we do have, there are other maintenance needs in Dupree Lakes that needs to happen, like indoor amenity, which I know Tom's gonna go over. But the hurricane cleanups, those little things are gonna happen before we move into heavy lifting, because that's quite a job.
Yeah, okay. I still like the idea of replacing like every third one, because that seems efficient.
Yeah,
If there's ample
I
light.
mean, you can always go back, once it's capped, you can go back later on, but
Yeah.
you can do one, like every third one, get it.
It's a lot easier to get them on when they're off, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. What we don't want to do is get in a situation where you have them all out and it's amazing, and then no one appreciates it because it's totally dark, and people are like, why is the walking path dark? And we're ordering these lights and it's taking forever to get them installed, because I can see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, we've already gotten complaints, and especially with it being dark earlier now, dark in the morning, dark early at night, I think we're gonna see those complaints again, so, yeah, anything we can do to kind of get that moving would be great.
I agree.
So do we have a motion to approve that, GMS proposal, not to exceed, it's a not to exceed because we don't believe it's gonna cost more than that.
Not to
No,
exceed.
we don't wanna, if we don't even wanna reach that number. And then with this project, Tom, who do we wanna work with just providing information to with it? Do we
I
wanna,
think I was already on it.
Janelle? Okay, so we'll be working with, Janelle as the, with a liaison if there's any.
And not to belabor this, like everything else, but, I was just wondering, is there any way that we could, remove 3 or whatever, and then install 1 new one, and then remove 3, like, because it seems like that way we won't be without lighting,
They're all dead right
No,
now.
yeah, none of them work really out there. The old ballers, they're all kind of just fading.
Yeah, I think your point is, can we replace, do we have to remove all at once, or can you go through and remove the ones that are going to get replaced, go ahead and replace those, and then later go back through and finish removing the ones that are
Like,
not?
That's a different strategy, like
Okay.
than what we thought we were gonna do.
Okay.
Because it might be a case that we can do it, but then we might go to another lighting vendor, like, hey, they're all moved now, can you come in and put in I don't think you wanna go back to your old friend.
No.
But the other issue you can avoid though is, why does that one not work? If that one's not there, we don't get why does that one not work?
Yeah, and I think it was just logistically, if
While you're here, you're hitting them all.
while you're hitting them all, because it's gonna,
A charge every time
they're,
they come
they're
out.
not light, it's gonna take a trailer out here and kinda, it's gonna be like
You're gonna
a
fill
couple,
the
a
dumpster
couple
up.
good days, yeah, a couple good days of work.
So are you thinking, I mean, I know we don't wanna, we're not necessarily in a rush, but, I mean, are we thinking like end of December this could be done
Removed?
and replaced?
Replacement
Probably not
is not,
replacement.
we don't have a quote to replace them yet.
Okay.
We
so
just
you
have to
don't-
get-
We've got, that proposal is to just remove them, which was the most expensive part of the proposals that we received from the other vendors. And we just said, we're just gonna come in basically with an expensive buzzsaw, get them off to a point where you can put something in their place.
I think they're all the vendors we spoke to, that was the part that was gonna be the most difficult, because they're just so old and there's not really much you can do, but we can, if we can use this and get rid of them, that would limit the cost significantly.
So then we're gonna get a whole new, just start from scratch, scratch with a new quote from the electrician.
Here's $50, but first it's, put 20 in, how much does that cost? And then you get like 2 or 3 quotes from
Yeah,
other vendors.
instead of what we were doing before was, hey, can you get rid of these, haul them away, then install. It's just gonna be us internally removing them and then getting installed.
Is there any way we could get a quote from the electrician though, just to like pretend they're not here and like this is the situation and give us a quote, you know?
Start getting the quotes.
Yes.
Because that's what I'm worried about, the whole time that.
Yeah.
By the next meeting, I should have
Okay.
quotes for it.
Oh, good.
So do we want to move forward with would you prefer to approve this now, with not to exceed, or do you want to have the quotes first? I think they need to go regardless.
Yeah,
correct?
the quote would be totally separate, so.
Okay,
Make a motion not to exceed the 7,500 to remove all the ballers that don't work.
all righty, one second.
And that's around the whole soccer field and the pond over there?
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, motion passes.
All right. The next one was the amenity repairs back there underneath the ceiling, some of the slabs went with the storm. We're gonna be out replacing that internally as well. The only thing we probably need was the fan, which was $200, I think, and then the lighting underneath that, a couple of lights went out under the cabana. That's just gonna be an internal project we would do. I can't see that being more than, probably $200 for the supplies, so, I don't know if you want us to just do it.
I think the direction is just to get the
Microphone,
fan
microphone,
and everything fixed up there.
Yeah, so we'll do that, it's not gonna be anything wild. I think we got those 4 fans for, I think it was 1,000 for 4 of them.
Yeah, well,
It's not gonna be, it's not gonna break it down. So I should have an update, that's on the list prior to the ballers, we gotta take care of that, because it's an amenity area, that, people frequent. And then the next one was the fountain again, back there, just stopped working after the storm. I talked to Lake Fountain, they're gonna be out here probably next week. I'm trying to get them to tell us why that happened again, like, it could be because of the hurricane, that's what they said, they're dealing with these calls, but I'm trying to be out here when they're out here, so I can get an answer from the technician of what is wrong, why it's wrong, because it's the second time it happened in 3 months. Because I remember we went through the whole thing. Everything was replaced, the motors was replaced, so it could have just been the storm. We're gonna have to just see when they go out there.
I'm hoping it's something just like a tripped break or something
It
like
could
that.
be, yeah.
Well,
It could
there's
be
a
anything.
breaker on the dock, they might want to check that out.
Yeah, did they get tripped?
Yeah.
You gotta hop the fence and be on that side, but there's a breaker panel, that's out there.
We can
It's
do
probably
it.
tripped.
Yeah. We'll go down there.
But at the same time, they very much trip.
Yeah, I've just never touched, I'm not a fountain guy, I don't wanna touch any of their fountain stuff, because it's
Not worth it.
But if it keeps tripping, we kind of want the
Just wanted to
the
line.
guy to look at it and say, why is it a dodgy fuse? like we want
Yeah, you're
people to
right.
look at it.
Like, they've been out here already, so I'd like to tell them why, I'd like them to tell us why this happens repeatedly, because.
You guys just fixed all of this, we spent all this money, why is it tripping? And that's our question.
Yeah.
Is this the same fountain that has a bottle filler?
No, not the water fountain, the pond
The white
fountain.
Yeah, the pond fountain, because you worked with me
yeah.
on that, yeah, so it stopped working again post-storm. So we're gonna see what he says next week and
Okay.
go from there. If you guys, you want a liaison for that as well? Just
Yeah.
because we were already on there, yeah, perfect. That's all I really have besides the hurricane cleanup. We did pretty well for the storm overall. I think Carla did a good job, right off the rip getting out here and clearing out the roads and everything and clearing out everything that was debris. We were very fortunate up here compared to, some of the other areas we've had, so, and I think their response was pretty good, so. Do you guys have any other questions for me?
Does the accident control cameras here, or have you, Brian?
That's Brian.
I didn't have something, but I can wait. It's not on this, it's not on this.
No, just, well, if it's field related,
It's
I
on,
think.
it's on our agenda.
Okay.
It would be something if the board was open to the idea of getting a quote to wall this area off, because I would like to see the second office be able to be used for, for anything but what it is right now. Right now it's the storage, and I feel like this clubhouse is so small, and we all know, and the function is really limited. So could you get a quote to wall off this area and put a door in, then I would think maybe we could move everything from that office into that room.
Yeah, we have that as an agenda item to discuss under my
Yeah.
report.
Yeah.
Would
We
would
can-
that be something that you would?
We would work together on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So.
and so, yeah, I would wanna, maybe if the board's agreeable to obtain what, do we need 3 quotes, or maybe like February or something?
Yeah, depending on what you guys just want me to wall it off in the door, essentially, or?
Maybe, maybe we should do it like February after we've gotten through some of the big
Yeah.
projects.
Right, I would like to get it on
We
the.
won't go to the engineer to get
Yeah.
those things, but I think, to wall it off and make it finished properly, like a functional storage closet, we probably wanna, area, I know that there was other quotes that we might potentially wanted to make that like a walled off gym area, but we wanna start with this one's a little bit more obtainable. We would probably want, I know we did this with, VOB, we had a couple of,
We had the quote.
we had a
We
couple
had
of quotes. Extending quote, but I think that firm could do the same thing here. Maybe we just wanna reach out
And see what
have them come out and at least look at it. It doesn't cost us anything for a free consultation, what they think they could do. And they can meet with Fallon, maybe
Yeah.
lean on Fallon to kind of give us an idea.
Because, right, because you know, like, you guys know what's in this office and whether or not it can fit into this space, or what's in those closets, for example, already.
Yeah, so essentially you want to just use that as storage and then use the office.
Yeah, we wanna free up this office.
Okay.
And
And then wall off that area from the blue to the,
Yeah,
The yellow, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just not, it just, doesn't
That-
get it.
Yeah, that would be my only concern is the storage space, so we would absolutely want to use at least one of those areas as storage. We have a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
That's just your Christmas stuff that we got out of the shed, so, a lot. So,
But yeah, you
that's my
can-
biggest concern, and
So
then,
you'll be taking whatever's in here.
and putting it over there, okay. Yeah, just looking at it right now, I'm not sure that everything would fit in there, but we could probably make it work.
You could even do some of those like ceiling racking.
Right,
in the garage,
yeah. And I would be interested to know if permitting is needed to get a wall like that.
what,
A
interior,
permit. Yeah,
interior
an
wall?
interior wall, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
We're not
think so.
actually changing anything too structurally, we're just capping
Right,
it off, right?
electrical.
But why don't we work on that on a few ideas, and Fallon, we'll come up with an idea.
Goal of like February, once you get past like the, holiday stuff.
The pool and the playground and the
Yeah, yeah.
security and,
Exactly.
all the things.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
all right. Was there anything else for Tom?
No.
All right. If there's anything else for Tom, then Is anything else related to Tom later on? Is there worth keeping Tom here, or?
I don't have anything for him unless the board did.
Go home, Tom. All right.
Alrighty, so let's move into our next item that we have. We got the amended managers report, so I'm gonna pass this over to Fallon. Fallon?
So I have both October and November here. So some of the events that we had in September and October are pretty similar. We had the yoga participation, which we've seen and residents have seen as well, where there is a pretty low participation, but still participation nonetheless. Even with like the rating day that we had in September, game night as well is kind of similar, where we're having some participation. And then the paint night was supposed to happen in September, and it got pushed to October with the hurricane that we had. As far as like facility updates, we're still working on the Little Free Library after getting the personal pending removed. There is that water fountain that's outside. I know that you mentioned that with the water bottle sensor. That should be replaced the next time that maintenance comes.
Did we approve that?
It was like $100, $200, I think, so it would, yeah, we had approved that for sure.
So what's going on with the Little Free Library? Or did you?
Should have done that this weekend. Yeah, should have done that this weekend.
Okay.
And I had,
My girls got to that overnight. Also, I got
I had somebody drop off a ton of, I could probably put more than fill the library, so once he's gonna text me when he brings it up here, and then I'll bring up all the books, and then.
You can keep them, I've had some books that are inside of the bookcases in here, we can keep it as like overflow, and then I can add it as people take books. So yeah, that's not a problem.
So a question while we're on that.
Yeah.
I had heard from within the community, there was a Girl Scout troop, not my troop, that was actually taking that project over.
Not that I've heard of. Nobody came to me about it, so if that is the case, it would be maybe helpful, but to my understanding, it was Daniel that was helping work on that, so it's news to me.
I will ask that troop later.
Yes.
That'd
be good to
asked about on Facebook, and I told them that we had, I didn't give them your name, I just said, we have somebody in the community who's doing it, but we didn't have a timeline for it, because you're doing it for free, so.
And that would have been as well, we're gonna be the Bronzeville project. Or whether this communication was.
Yeah, it wasn't brought up to me, so, yeah.
That would require like in person or a telephone.
Anything?
So, you
Yeah.
know, but not social media, which is where they like to like look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Fallon, you let me know when the library's here.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Yeah, we'll let you know. We also had, the garage sale as an update as well, with all the signage out.
I have a question on the garage sales.
Answer.
So we had a complaint that the food truck shut down for, but I'm sorry, not the garage sale. That was Harvest Festival. That was another thing. The Goodwill truck, what happened with the Goodwill truck?
So the Goodwill truck, whenever we had first reserved it, to my understanding was that it was between 12 and 4, and how it had been, brought up previously was that the truck would come and stay on property. But apparently that is not the case of how they do it. It's kind of like an Uber situation or like a DoorDash where they will come and pick up between 12 and 4, sometime between then, and pick up your stuff. So they called me I think at 9:30 in the morning and said we're coming at like 10, and I just can't do that because that was even before the garage sale had happened. So, and I said if you can come at least at 4, and they said they can't do that, so that they have to
changed that
reschedule.
policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, someone said Goodwill, so I went with Goodwill. I looked into Salvation Army as well, but to my understanding, it was bringing the truck, staying there from 12 to 4.
Yeah.
We usually would drop the trailer and then it would be
Right.
there all day and then come back and get it that afternoon or next day.
Wasn't it Goodwill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe we just stop doing that.
They
in
just
the
use like a
future.
different vendor, it's called like Resupply, and again, I still thought it was the same situation, but that's not. That's how we do it anymore. So they were like, we can reschedule for Monday, so we had all of the stuff pretty much in the storage closet, so that they could take it all away on Monday, had it all, you know,
Is that-
separated, so it's not, yeah.
It's all there?
It was, it's gone now, yeah, we have it all separated, so we knew what's what, and you
Yeah, so
know,
the
district
orders.
property. Yeah, it was quite a bit, I will not lie, we had a couple of desks, we had a bike, we had a lot of bags of clothes as expected. But yeah, and then they picked it all up on Monday.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of confusion, there was a lot of complaints that people tried to come on Monday and the truck wasn't here or whatever, so. I don't, maybe we just stop doing it in the future if they're not gonna, if we can't do it the way it's.
Is it something to complain about?
Yeah, I'll look into like Salvation Army or another donation company, maybe they do have the kind of like drop off, but it seems like they all have moved towards
Yeah,
the pick
and
up
honestly
whenever.
I mean, anybody can call and do the same thing from their home, so
Yeah,
maybe we just.
it has the cost to it, you know, that's the
Right,
only
exactly.
thing.
And another option that we could possibly explore, I'm not sure the legality behind this, Bennett, but, we could look into renting a box truck, leaving it open, and then driving it to Goodwill ourselves and having them remove it that way. Just as a possible solution in the
And
future.
we've got maintenance trucks too.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost any, like we.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
we got our maintenance guys up here, we've got 5 pickup trucks, like
Yeah.
it's you know, not around the neighborhood, but I mean like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
central location.
Central
absolutely.
location, but then, again, I think this comes down to the like organising what we're gonna do. Like, that's an idea in my head, but if someone brings things that are just astronomically huge,
Right.
we can't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even Goodwill has like a deconstruction fee, if anything is too big, so.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are willing to take.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
the same way, they'll show up and they'll need a run thing.
Yeah, exactly, so very, very
They don't want to
picky.
take like a TV, they don't want to take something else.
Brian, did that invoice, make it to the HOA?
No, actually, I was gonna bring that up here in a second to see exactly how you guys wanted to do that, so. If that's, historically, that's what I heard, is that you guys, you know, give that to the HOA. You know, another board member told me that they didn't remember that happening that way, so I just wanted to get full board approval before
I
we
think
do that.
Clubhouse probably handled it before.
The HOA's back in freeze.
No, I mean, but wasn't an HOA member didn't actually schedule it, did they? Wasn't that like,
It
The
was,
clubhouse
clubhouse
manager role.
manager did all of that or whatever, and that, the invoice was,
sent to the HOA, right?
the
Yeah.
coordination was within the bill.
Got it. Okay, yeah, I'll get that sent out here in a second.
And then so for the, November report with some of our October events, we found with yoga, there was that same kind of participation. I've actually talked with the instructor about it, just, there hasn't been a lot of interest per se, and a lot of it I've heard is about the cost, you know, understandably so. And he is still willing to work with us, you know, he's mentioned like, you know, if by January, you know, we're still having that same kind of participation, that it probably won't be feasible anymore. But he's still willing to, offer us some kind of deal discount to, you know, gain some interest. In December, he wanted to offer a family, offer. I know that there were some parents that were interested in bringing their kids, but not having like a kid-specific yoga session. So it would be $30 for the whole household, unlimited members. And just as like, for the one session, yeah, so it's 30 for the whole household.
That seems really expensive.
But they could be like 5 people.
That's a family.
Yeah, no, like that's everybody in the house. That's definitely, for one person, $30, yeah.
What's his single person rating?
It's $20. It's for his travel, and, you know,
It does, yeah, I know that there's people who said, yeah, I would go, but I'm not paying $20.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of feedback about guys, like I'd love to go, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we don't post it, do we know how much he charges? Like, what his normal hourly rate is?
that, to my understanding, that is his normal rate, that he
$20
charges.
an hour?
Yeah, so like for a group session, there's different pricing, like I think it was like 150, 120, and that would be for like 20 participants.
Okay.
And he's talked about like us potentially, paying for like one of the classes so that we maybe do get that interest and then, you know, the residents pay for the classes and like after or something like that. But I just, with the participation, don't see that it is feasible in that respect.
How many people are coming?
The most that we had was 5, and that was the first session. We've had 3 and 2 and 1.
Is there a little hour?
Is it a communication
Sorry?
issue? Is it the time? Is it the day?
Well, I think
That's what I'm honestly not sure of. It's been at the same time every time. It's been on different days, and we have like a Tuesday or a Thursday. Those are just like generally less busy days.
I would suggest like a sunset yoga and outside on a basketball court, because we did that, like a few years ago. In the neighborhood did that, and she accepted donations, you know, so she wasn't, didn't work there anymore.
I started putting all the events on Facebook too, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to post it at least with the newsletter and then about a week in advance and the day of as well, just to have the communication. So at least, I don't think the communication is a factor. It definitely could be the time. I've had people that say I'd rather like a 10 a.m. class, and we're just unfortunately not open at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And having it inside the clubhouse, and it's been hot in the summer, even moving into the fall, so like having it outside hasn't been feasible, but it's definitely doable. You know, moving forward, that way he can come at 10 a.m. even if we're not here. But that's also,
Yeah.
do we want to do that? So,
All right,
yes.
an hour in the wall.
He does, he'll do like a meditation and stretching in the beginning and then actually have like a yoga session.
Alan, what if there's a way to do half-hour session, $10, and then do 2 sessions in one day instead of.
2 30-minute sessions.
Yeah, 2
You're here for an
30-minute
hour,
sessions,
2
he's
30-minute
here for an hour, the same amount of time, and residents are only paying $10 instead of the 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we can work that out, we'll work out
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
offline
see
with
if
him
that's
on
an
that.
option that we can offer. For sure.
That might get a little bit more involvement on that. And I mean, an hour, I tried yoga once, and that's tough, yeah, that's
Yeah.
tough.
I needed to be outside so I could just like peek away.
Yeah, I do prefer, like, there's a lot of, outside yoga. I know even at, like, downtown Tampa, they do offer, like, some outside yoga sessions, and it's nice, just,
Yeah.
especially with it getting a little bit cooler.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll definitely talk to him about that. Are we okay with the family session for December, just to see if there's that interest there, or?
Yeah.
What would the cost be for individuals?
So it's $30 for the whole household, unlimited members.
But if I wanna come by myself, I pay $30 now.
I would say no. I can definitely
I
talk to
can
him to get,
guarantee you
I would say it would be that
mine's
$20, if
$300.
it's a single person, I'm sure he would do a $20 rate, but the $30 would be for the whole household. Even if it's 2 people, that way it's not 40. It's-
I'm just thinking that's the question we're gonna get from the
For sure.
community is, I know my husband would not come to yoga, so.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pay $30.
Right with
Yeah, no, he's very reasonable. Like I said, he's been trying to work it out to make sure that it is feasible for both himself and the community, and the cost, he understands the cost is definitely a factor, you know, so, I'll see if he can do the 30-minute session and just confirm if we're just doing single people at the family session, that they can just do the $20. I'm sure that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry, I had a lot of
just questions for
questions.
clarification, that's all right.
Before we go into December events, can we talk about the Harvest Festival?
Mhm.
I'm just curious, like,
Yeah.
how, I mean, did we have a good turnout? Did the food trucks do well?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Food trucks did not do well.
Talk about it.
There was, the only complaints that I heard was that the food wasn't free.
I heard that a lot,
yeah.
which, you know, it is what it is, but that was my concern with why we were doing it, because.
I think, we learned a lot from this. One, we're not gonna invite as many food trucks, to any of these events anymore. Actually, one of the food trucks left early just because it wasn't feasible for them,
Yeah.
which makes sense, we weren't too mad at that. The bar did very, very well from my understanding. Once we moved her from the back corner, more of a central location,
Okay.
she did very, very well. She was very happy and pleased with the way that the event turned out, so.
She said she wants to come back,
Yeah. very good.
she was super nice, she was helpful, she poured that big. You got your money from her, and she was very well prepared.
Mhm.
She didn't run out of stuff, she was great.
Do we have any idea how many people attended? I don't know if we have a way to
I
figure
mean,
that
we
out.
can give you a rough number.
Yeah.
But without, so we could usually, with this new system, we'll probably be able to give you a more accurate number than we could with Embera. So just based off card swipes. Now, you are running these events outdoors,
Right.
which means that not everyone's gonna be swiping their cards to get into the amenity center. But Val, what would you say you saw, throughout the day? How many different people do you think you saw?
Yeah, so we had about 270 RSVPs. I would say about that many showed up, probably in the 300 range, just throughout the whole time. of The
Yeah.
event, a lot of people came, maybe left a little bit early. It was hot outside.
It was very hot.
I know even like in the bounce house and in the obstacle course, I heard like one kid had, because of the heat, had skidded his, his leg, they left early, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say we had about 300.
Again, we learned a lot, I think another thing is we're not gonna make this event so long in the future. And we'll probably do it towards the end of the day where it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah. It
So.
wasn't that hot, but the sun was intense, and there was no way to get away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an open field out there, so
Yeah.
not much shade, but, we did have that tent out there, which kind of, right, Val, it's kind of provided a little bit of shade for people.
Yeah.
Until the wind
That was
got it.
definitely the idea behind it.
What's that?
Until the wind got it.
Oh, is that?
That was the other thing, is that the wind did, break both of our tents, two of our tents. We had three, broke two of them, so.
Were they tied down?
They were not tied down, and that wasn't the issue with it either. It was just like the wind pushing against, and they're older to my understanding.
There was I don't know what happened, but I ended up trying to grab a hold of it and that was dumb. But wind nothing, and then all of a sudden, this big hard gust and right up and both of them went at the same time.
Yeah, and
They should have had more weights on them, but I don't know, if we had enough
Mother
weights.
Nature is, yeah.
That was a complete Mother Nature, because that was pulled down, and now they're flipping.
yeah, so we still have one of our tents, I believe there's another one in the shed as well.
They're
But
cheap at Academy.
what?
They're cheap at Academy.
Yeah.
We get the easy up one next time.
A much bigger tent would be nice,
Mhm.
but they probably get pretty expensive.
Yeah, they were like in the 700 for one of them, I think almost 1,000 for like a nice like 10 by 40, which would be, or not 10 by 40, 20 by 40, which is a large tent, but just the cost of it, and trying to work within the budget and things.
Yeah, maybe we could rent it from the next, vendor.
But that is rental.
We can literally go across there, Dick's or Academy or whatever, and they're $89 for the keys up. They're 10 by
Right,
10.
yeah.
We would absolutely need help installing something like that for events though, so we'd have to either get our maintenance team involved
No,
or.
Well, for an easy up, no, for like.
Oh,
the
so
size
we're
of
talking
the
about
top,
the I'm talking about the 20 by 40.
Yeah, that
No,
would
yeah.
need an install. Yeah,
I
that
don't
would
think
need
we
that
need a
would
10 by
be
40. If we have a handful of 10 by 10s, 10 by 12s.
Yeah, absolutely. Those
As
are
long
easy
as
enough.
they're strapped down.
Well, by the way,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely doable, yeah.
Have we gotten an update on HOA providing money for events?
That meeting is on 12/3,
Okay.
and yes.
Okay.
I've heard.
Is there a ballpark number there? Or not?
Now we will have to talk
I'm
about
not
it.
sure I'm allowed to discuss because it's not been voted on.
Okay, I guess not. But it's a HOA thing, so it's nothing to do with really.
I'll text you.
Okay.
I would say-
Potential is.
Right. Like, if we do, could we do water bottles for, because it wasn't a water bottle, I know.
That
that-
was, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I agree. I
Oh,
agree.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, just because also like from a safety perspective, I know we have the water fountain here, but just, I think that would be nice. And then
When you say water bottle, you mean like,
bottled water, there wasn't any.
the problem with that is, it's a giant waste. And the reason I say it that way is the kids gonna come up and grab one, they're gonna take 2 sips of it, they're gonna
That's
chuck it, they're
true.
gonna go. and-
I know, but I mean.
Some kind of water, whether it's the
Refill
big
water
igloo
bottles,
cooler,
yeah,
water,
coolers,
yes,
something.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe encourage bringing your
I
own
think,
water
you guys have a
bottle.
bunch of those 5-gallon
Yeah.
water.
You can do the big bottles too, like, if
Yeah.
there's a full size.
No, there's options, we can explore it,
I
not a
think
problem at all.
it's a really nice courtesy, and when it's hot, and people are sweating around, and then maybe like popcorn, and obviously the snow cones, like, I feel like that poor person could have used some help, you know, because that's usually so popular. But if we're not gonna do the food truck, we can do really low cost food. I just wanna say for the record, when people talk about free food, it's not free, you're paying for it and your assessments, you know? So when you say you want free food, remember that when you're complaining about the fees that you're paying to CDD, because that's what you're asking for us to buy you lunch. You know?
$9,000.
Well, and so many people invite their cousins, their brothers, their uncles, and their friends that live in every other community, and so there was we were paying for food for a lot of people that don't live here.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money for food.
it's always gonna be a changeover, you know, people are used to something for so many years, and all of a sudden, hey, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I was expecting a few complaints about that, but
Yeah.
I think I got less complaints about that than I expected, so
Yeah.
I think we're in good shape.
And then you go from free and then to chicken tenders for $16.
Right, exactly. And that's another thing about the
That's
food
in the middle,
trucks.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing about the food trucks, too, they're generally more expensive
Yeah.
than you would think. I mean, they're paying for all their health and safety, they're paying for the gas, they're paying for the propane to heat their cooking, and so generally they're a little bit more expensive than we'd like to see, but also a very good option, if we don't wanna take on that liability from the
For
food
sure.
trucks, so.
Yeah.
I think if we had one,
No, it would've been great,
it
yeah,
would've been
absolutely.
not an issue.
Mhm.
And
I know you're at the mercy of, is it Best Food Trucks that you guys?
Yeah.
I know you're at the mercy of who signs up, and, like West Chase is one of those, they're mediocre anyway, and they have a reputation of being mediocre, so that's one of the reasons they didn't get
We have a
elected.
little bit of discretion with them. I mean, we tend not to try to push too hard on them because we take what we get from them. We really do. The good thing about them is if someone cancels, they can just slot someone else in most of the time. I would say 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Where if we were controlling that solely, we would not be able to accommodate that type of situation.
Right.
So that's another good reason why we use them. But if there's a specific food truck that you guys like, that you guys want at your next event, we can reach out to that vendor and say, hey, is there any chance we can get these guys on?
I have a on the side person.
And they don't want to work with all the food trucks, I'm guessing.
I have no idea. I just grabbed one of their business cards. They're always at the Wesley Chapel, Wiregrass Festival.
Absolutely.
And there is never, it's policy limit. There's never not a wait. And so Jess is like, hey, grab that, get that down,
Yeah, and for our events, we can actually schedule those ourselves too, and not use all about food trucks. Obviously, they have a bigger umbrella than we do, so they have more food trucks that they know of, that they can talk to. But if there's one-off food trucks that you guys really like, that you wanna be here, for these events specifically, let us know, we'll reach out.
Yeah, I was like a Kona ice truck, you know, like kids like that, and I thought that was kind of.
Yeah, or even like Ice Dream, whenever they
Yeah.
came out, there was a lot of people that came out for them.
Well, it's something that would be nice, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but something that would be nice, and maybe I'm doing it once a week, but twice a month,
Right.
on whatever night, Ballsy Limon's gonna be here, Kona Ice is gonna be here, Ice Cream's gonna be here, whoever it is, these other businesses or whatever, and once we advertise it, well, people show up and something, we're giving back lots of money.
There's a number of communities that do like food truck Friday, once a month they'll do a food truck or two, but it's on a regular schedule.
Yeah, we can definitely set that up for.
Yeah, absolutely. I would suggest starting bi-weekly, like you said, and if we get good turnout, we can move to weekly. If we get bad turnout, we can move to monthly.
Well, it's like right now, I mean, there's a lot of holiday stuff going on, stuff like that, but it's cooler, and during the cooler months, people are, I usually like to have to come out more often, when it's cooler than when it's in the middle of July.
Right. Yeah, no, we can get that started. I would suggest after Christmas. But yeah, we can get that set up, not a problem.
But the event was nice, and I didn't notice any parties, as Glenn had confirmed it. Everything looked like it was in good, new working order, which was nice to see, and safe.
One recommendation, and I don't think I just stepped out, but is historically, we've always had, honor society, beta club, whatever they call it, for volunteers here for different things, trying not to talk about that a little bit, a liability, but at the same time, it's kind of almost expected to do that. Helping the high school kids out.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with using volunteers, honestly.
That wasn't our question.
Yeah, I mean, Bennett will go over it a little bit more than I can. I mean, it's absolutely liability. Once they're volunteers, workers' comp comes into play, so they are considered technically employees at that point, even though we're not paying them. So, there are waivers that we can create for the district to get volunteers, and that's absolutely a path that we were expected. You know, I think we were a little bit too late for the Harvest Festival, but now that, you know, we're kind of in the swing of things over here, and we've got this little break coming up, for Christmas, we can absolutely explore those options going forward.
And one more thing is I noticed there was a women-owned business for the inflatables. I think it says something like
Bounce
that,
House
right?
Scouts, that's owned by, that's owned by a
So
man.
that was pretty cool, because I didn't.
No, that's owned by his wife.
Oh, he's with his wife's on it too?
Yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah.
The sign said something like women, something.
Yeah, it's women owned.
Yeah, and I was like, that's, you know, that's something that we should be like bragging about, that.
Mhm.
Oh, Patrick has a company and his wife are very great to us, so. You know, they actually really hook you guys up with the amount of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
He'll tell me
Yeah.
about all the deals and
Yeah.
specials he had. Yeah, he's really good about it.
We did receive some feedback that the food truck, I think we just mentioned this a little bit ago, that they were only there until 4, so I think just in the future, if the food trucks aren't gonna be there for the whole event, I think it's important to communicate that.
We absolutely expected them to be there for the whole
Oh,
event.
okay.
They left on their own accord because they weren't
Oh,
making
okay.
enough, it wasn't,
Gotcha.
to them, it wasn't worth it,
Yeah.
obviously. So I think we did have one food truck that did stay though.
Taco guy.
The taco, yeah.
He stayed before.
Left
Till
till,
4,
left
yeah,
till 4,
somebody
yeah.
said they came at 4.
He said he
and
was
all of them
contracted.
shut down.
Mm.
Really?
That's what he told me, yeah.
Well, and if you went to the link that you sent me, where you could go to the,
Best food
the
trucks.
menus, it said 12 to 4.
Hmm.
That's what he commented, said that he was contracted for.
Got it.
Ben, now that you're back, we have a question. Okay, shoot. So, historically, the community during the Harvest Festival, Fall Festival, we utilized volunteers within the community, high school kids, for junior honor, for National Honor Society, all that fun stuff. I know that's a liability. We didn't have enough time this year to quite get that up and running, and I'd like to be able to, you know, to continue that, you know, we'll call it a tradition or whatever, and then for other events and stuff like that throughout the year. So how do we as a district protect ourselves and to be able to still do that and utilize these kids?
So, two things come to mind immediately. So we're fine, there's a lot of communities that do this, it's not a big deal. We just need a volunteer waiver, so I can draft a standard form under Jason, anyone for any of that who's going to volunteer, just sign the waiver, we're to go there. The other thing we would probably want to do is get workers' compensation, insurance coverage, under.
Well, you bring that up, that's, I was gonna bring this up later. There's an $860 check that was cut, whoever it was cut to workers' comp insurance, we cut that employees.
Aegis.
Well, we don't have any employees that have workers' comp for, so why are we paying?
Well, I
What
think,
about us? We're in
So I will
If that's the
say,
case, then I just wanna make sure we're paying.
Yeah,
well,
If
if we're actually going to use, volunteers for these various events that we're holding, I mean, we might as well keep it now, at the very least. Under Florida law, even if they're volunteers, they're still considered employees for purposes of workers' compensation when they're volunteering for a governmental entity.
right, and you've had that prior, because you have people putting up decorations and stuff on monuments prior years, and you've always had it just in case, in the event you
No,
have
is that,
that
is that for the whole year? Okay, that's why I was saying.
Yeah, but
Well,
if
make
you
sure
went,
that
if you went to go and
we're
put 200 volunteers, that obviously is a little bit different, like you would need a different, that's a special circumstance. As you said, obviously, you know.
Do you know what that amount covers, how many people?
Well, it's typically, it would be no more than, I think the insurance provider said if it goes over 30, you're gonna have, and it's religiously every month, you know, then.
Is that
you
30
might-
per month, 30 per event,
30 per event.
per?
That's what I've heard, but like, that's what our, you know, parameters were, but obviously, you know, I think we're pretty good. I think the most volunteers we've ever seen at any given time is like 6.
Yeah.
6 to 10.
Yeah, 6 to 10, so that's what that coverage is for.
Sorry.
So
I'm
I'll,
asking all kinds of
no,
questions.
I didn't-
I'll get a volunteer waiver and I'll send it over to Jason.
Thanks, sir.
Questions, comments about the fall festival? Others?
I think we're.
I think
Yeah, we beat that to death.
Yeah, overall, I think especially for the first time without, all of what used to be,
Yeah.
it turned out well, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The lives are lost. Lower that baseline.
Yes.
No parties.
Back in October, we also did have a paint night. When it was previously scheduled in September, we had about 27 interest RSVPs. Only 7 residents were able to show up for the rescheduled events. So I'm planning to do one most likely in December or January. See if there's that same interest again, low cost for us, In the trunk or treat event that we didn't have a lot of attendance. I think about 10 households had showed up. I don't know how that might have shown up in previous years. I heard it might have been a little bit more popular. Maybe you guys have some suggestions.
I think one of the comments was, and I'll be honest, I didn't look at the newsletter when it first came out, so I didn't realize it was in there, but if you didn't look at the newsletter, I think the email went out maybe that Friday before, it was only a day or 2 notice, so a lot of people were wondering what it was or what was happening. It just kind of seemed like it was all of a sudden, normally, whenever we have events, the emails are, it's multiple emails, so
Right.
that might have had something to do with it.
For sure.
For me, it was like waiting on supplies. I was like, well, I'm not
Well,
gonna.
that's how a trunk or treat works. I mean,
What's the point? I have to put my kids in the garage and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do Halloween, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I know we're working on the.
we did get, I saw some positive comments on Facebook of the people who attended and really liked it and thought it was great for their kids, so. I don't know what the attendance, have you gone, but anybody gone before? I don't know what the attendance normally is.
No, it's last year it was canceled. Well, a lot of our candy went.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, but I heard the biggest thing was just that there were mosquitoes eventually, because
Yeah.
time and cooler weather, and understandably so, don't want to stay in that, so.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit earlier in the night, it was 6:30 to 8, so maybe now, especially with the sun setting earlier, sometime 5 o'clock would be better for that. Any questions on the events?
Have you ever coordinated like a ghost yoga situation, or is it always like you have to go to that?
It would probably be the same cost you'd be looking at with like regular yoga, if not more, just for the goat aspect of it. It's my understanding.
I was wondering.
No, it's really just like.
Yeah, they actually bring goats in.
Like they actually, my friend's been to one. Like if you
Yeah.
go to it, I think it's at least $20.
I mean, puppy yoga maybe, but.
Yeah, they do have yoga.
That would be
How do you get anything done in yoga if there's a puppy? Looking
I'd be more interested with the goat. That's a good
I'll
one.
look into it. I think that would be fun, and especially as like an outdoor
I've never
activity.
heard of
Do they sign a special waiver?
I have no idea where to start with that one.
Like they ran into the.
Yeah.
Were you
You're
gonna
allowed
talk
to
about the Santa last one?
Yes, yeah, so you guys should all have a printout, kind of just like as a rundown of kind of like both event ideas, and we can, if we wanna pick and choose from each one. But, so the cookies and karaoke, was something that you guys have done in previous years, and then the Santa reading was something that, I had kind of started for this year. So we would have the Santa, we'll just have one session of reading, 10 to 10:30 with pictures until 12. The same company, the Bounce House Gals, actually has an inflatable sleigh. It's like 10 feet tall. And it's like a really cute picture spot. I think that'd be good for kids, families, anybody really interested. And then have like hot chocolate, make some DIY ornaments. Just to kind of make it fun. We also kind of have like the price rundown of that as well, just having an additional staff member to help out with all of that. The Santa is an additional cost because I think last year you guys had used Curtis or one of Curtis.
We have our own costume, and yeah, Curtis, was at the event, and one of the Curtis.
You have a Santa costume?
Somewhere.
I saw a Grinch
You got
costume.
the
I gotta
beard
get
for it,
that.
Glenn. You could
No,
just-
it's happening.
Sorry,
If
I'm
you know
not
someone who
going
wants to volunteer and be Santa, but.
You'd be a great
I
Santa.
know I got the belly, but that's about it.
Is there a charge for the pictures?
So it would, to my understanding, I told them about the, like the idea for it, and they didn't say any additional cost. It would be $700 for the Santa, his time, reading. There's also like his throne that would be added to the stuff. You just look good, you know, we were thinking of like sitting with the kids and the pictures and at least make them a little bit comfortable. We could spruce up one of the chairs, you know, maybe do something like that. I think without the throne, it was $350 for the Santa. So that brings it down to seven, somewhere in the ballpark of $7 for that Santa's reading idea.
What about the outside pictures?
So the outside pictures, is also no cost other than just having the inflatable, and that would be the inflatable itself, not with Santa. Santa would be inside.
Just to clarify too, is there a professional photographer taking pictures, or are they taking pictures with their own phone?
They would take pictures with their own.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I can bring a camera.
That's what I thought you were
I was
getting at,
thinking,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking to bring my own camera, because I do have, like a digital camera, and more than happy to let people borrow it. Again, like having another staff member to be able to help facilitate that would be helpful.
Could we have somebody, I mean, to that point, either use the phone, whatever we use, but could we have somebody just taking pictures and then post them, like either on our community website where people can download them themselves or something like that?
Yeah, that was good. I think you have to have permission to post someone's
Yes.
photo.
That's-
To do it a child.
Yeah, it has to, you get into, I think we just make it as simple as possible, like take pictures with your own camera, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Leaves it just, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, if a resident posting pictures of some other kids, I think it would be fine, but if we did, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
official anything.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yes. And then, the cookies and karaoke that you guys have done in previous years is having a golf cart parade, starts down in Reserve, comes to the clubhouse. We have karaoke in the event room with cookies and hot chocolate. Still could do the DIY ornaments, it's like basically a no cost, I think it's like $10 for the supplies. We could still have the sleigh as well, we have the Christmas backdrop here for pictures, potentially bring a food truck. Also talked about the craft show.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was all. Also bringing up just an option of having kind of like a craft show, bringing, small business owners from the community, being able to sell whatever goods or products that they have. What was it, Jen's something, it was like a vendor that would basically do the seeking for us.
Yeah, no, they do a really good job.
Now, is there any issues doing that, promoting businesses at a community event? Like, I don't know if there's like a, you know, some districts frown upon it, they don't want people doing things like that. If you guys are okay with it? Okay, good.
The Dupree Lake CDD is not affiliated in any way with said business, blah, 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 anything that they do is on them. Done.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, standard license agreement, that sort of thing. The only consideration there typically is like First Amendment considerations, like so you can't really get selective with who you're going to promote, if you're going to allow anyone to promote their stuff, but,
Well, we aren't promoting their product themselves, right?
well, yeah, well, even still though, like if, you know, for instance,
Selling medical marijuana.
or, well, I mean, so this more often comes up in the context like holidays, if someone wants to put up like a major scene, and then you have like a satanic cult that wants to put something up too, you're not supposed to be able to discriminate against the satanic cult type thing. So to avoid that sort of situation, if you don't want, you know, Satan paraphernalia around your thing, you just don't allow anyone to put anything up.
No religious entities.
That's kind of the context in which most frequently it's brought up, but yeah, there are certain other issues with this whole thing.
But
But
we go to the first Saturday or Thursday, whatever it is, Wirecrafts, and they're buying for others there. I haven't seen anything like.
yeah, no, it's usually not problematic, but just to, you know, bring that up as a consideration.
CYA. The last year we did the cookies and karaoke thing. We did, it was cookies and karaoke, cookies with Santa. So Santa was in there on a chair or whatever you can make a chicken picture. There was cookies and hot chocolate. There was a ton of hot chocolate that was left over from last year.
Can you speak up for you?
Oh, sorry.
I think as the meeting goes on, you get quieter.
I get tired.
Yeah.
But what I say, last year when we did Santa was in there. We had the hot cocoa station, we had the cookies. Chris Henry was here with karaoke equipment, done the karaoke with kids, and here for done at night, so the incentive was, all lit up and dark, Christmas Eve, whatever here, and then the golf cart started on Saturday, went there for the crash and come down. I had somebody reach out, about opening the whole thing up to outside of the community, kind of like the flea market or, thing, kind of thing out there, or whatever, to be able to, have others like that, and, Quincy Garden, so all the communities up and down the road, because I guess like that, or like that East does their own gigantic parade. Find that out, so, people kind of add to that. I don't know about thoughts and feelings on that, but,
I mean, I'm open to it, I think we would need to, like others to participate, but I think that anybody could coordinate that, and as long as we're fine with that, passing through the whole parking lot.
Is it just, are they only participating in the parade, or are you talking about we now only just supply cookies and hot chocolate and everything for all the other communities?
Just the golf carts is what I was thinking, because they're not.
that's kind of what it was.
And then it's the question of how do we know who's who, am I checking IDs?
Yeah.
That's the only,
They wouldn't be coming in.
So, we talked about Halloween,
I do. Okay.
and, that would be an idea of, hey, if you're participating in the cookies and whatever was in on 12/21, it's not like clubhouse, it was banned.
Prior to, okay. Yeah, I think that we have some wristbands in the supply closet. That can be doable, so,
Install everyone in one day.
right, like essentially, so we have to just figure out what we want to do. So there's a lot of different options here now. We have the karaoke, we have the golf cart parade, we have the making ornaments, which is just simply an activity that's around. It can be done at the same time as karaoke. You have like Santa. We don't have an official Santa like we did in previous years. We would most likely have to rent a Santa unless we know anybody. It's just more so the short notice. There are a lot of Santas that do get rented.
Yeah, they get booked.
Yeah.
They're very picky too. I mean, they even go and put in their contract that you gotta provide them with soda and water. And they get a half-hour break every hour and a half or something. I mean, so.
From a budget standpoint, where do we sit with event? What money do we have left for events right now?
Without HOA contribution, I'm not confident that we'd even do a Christmas event.
Okay, so we
got
we could make decisions, but
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
I'm just, and even knowing, hopefully we get HOA money, but not knowing how much we're getting, do we wanna spend $1,000 or $1,200 on a Christmas event, or is that?
Last year, we spent $200 on karaoke and about $100 on supplies. And supplies, other than going to Costco or something like that, getting cookies, there's more than enough hot cocoa stuff that was purchased last year that doesn't have an expiration date until, I think, 2026, so.
So are you saying?
I think the only thing additional at cost would be the inflatable throne, the Santa, if you guys wanted to, if we didn't have anyone to volunteer for that. And then what else was on there?
Surely we could get somebody in the community.
Yeah, just the staffing as well.
I mean, we could post it on Facebook and ask, surely somebody in the community would volunteer for that, don't you think? I don't know.
To be Santa.
We need to
Definitely.
know, we need to know by like this week, because if not, I'd have to find a Santa.
Yeah,
by next.
I'll post it tonight
Okay.
and see what response we
That
get,
person,
and
whoever
then,
we get, say we do get somebody from the community, we probably give them a background check at least.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then when they don't show up or something, or,
That could be
Not really hard
that
to
way with anybody.
I don't think we should have that. I mean, I go through many other holidays too, and like the whole food and thing,
Your wedding, what? No Santa?
Well, no,
In all fairness, you had Santa last year.
We had Santa last year. Santa was
We could just
very,
do the Grinch if somebody wants to be the Grinch.
I mean, that is an option. You want to be Grinch?
You said you're not the president, so you could be.
You might say, get some more of your alley, I'm a fucking extrovert, but at the same time.
Yeah.
You got the same build, like Lincoln.
Yeah.
Oh, you're trying to fit into this role.
Pass on that. Maybe my normal hourly rate, I'll think about it.
Your hourly rate or Jerry's hourly rate?
my hourly rate, I'll give you that discount.
Alright, so,
You know what?
do we wanna just?
I'll do it. Matt.
For that, I'll do it.
Alright, so you said we already have hot chocolate.
Yes, we need to just get like cookies or supplies
And
and then
cookies are only
decide.
$20, that seems way too cheap.
That's not a cookie.
I mean, it's a rough estimate,
Okay,
it's a
alright.
very rough
I
estimate.
would
It could be
budget
$40, you know?
I'd budget $100 for cookies.
$100 for cookies?
You need to budget probably
You need a lot.
$50 for milk.
Right,
We need a
I
better
think
solution
like
than
Publix
last year
cookies
for
are like
the
$5
pink
for
milk.
They,
Okay,
Say what it was.
so we like cookies and milk, we like hot cocoa, right?
Need marshmallows.
I'll let her deal with the details of that.
the karaoke, I
And-
don't think we have to pay for that, like, if somebody has a karaoke machine and the community, they wanna run it off.
It's more so facilitating, like getting people involved and
Right,
excited and
there's
entertaining.
the proper equipment, there's the licensing that comes with that, which
How much
Chris
did
has.
you, what do you do it for?
He charges $200 last year.
For how long?
3.5 hours, 3 hours, something like that, whatever the time was, he was here the entire time, he actually stayed late because he had so many people backed up.
And who
that he
is
still
that?
had to-
Chris.
Chris
and
and
it's on
Oh,
the
I
street.
was gonna say, does he live on our street?
Yeah. Okay,
We have our
so,
agenda.
I mean, you said that went really well, so maybe we'll consider that. And then the parade, I think is a really good idea, doesn't cost us anything, right? The golf cart
People
parade,
out, yeah.
yeah, and we can put that on social media.
That was requested if we do that again to loop through the roads and not just come down the boulevard.
Yeah,
And if somebody invited a friend from another neighborhood, it's not like we would know, or, you know, the board isn't doing that, you know,
Yeah.
so.
could you put together a route that you think would be good for the golf cart parade?
I think the only caveat to that would be that you'd have to have them obey speed limits and all that stuff, and then say, hey, if you're from an outside community, once you hit Collier and Dupree Lakes on that end, stage there, and then
Yeah.
be one line all the way in.
When the speed limit's 30 miles an hour,
Yeah, if you're going, seen the ones in Lake Padgett, their golf carts that people driving through there,
mine does 30.
they're way side by side doing 50, 60.
I think somebody's gonna coordinate that with other neighborhoods, and it shouldn't be something else more.
Whoever leads
Yeah,
the parade is gonna set the speed, and last year, Shane was the Grinch last year.
yeah, we also had curves out there front and back too.
Right, well, Shane was in the front, and he was 12 mile an hour, felt like he did.
I mean, yeah, even like we could, Cody could, you know, whoever could, one of us could be at the front of,
Yeah.
or if a community member. The other thing is, a liability factor on, the CDD actually sponsoring having the golf carts out either on the road or,
Yeah.
I know that they are like road certified, but
Nope.
No.
well, it's it's the miles per hour, they go like over 30.
In Pasco County, they have like a beer law where you're not allowed to drive them on the road, even though it's allowed in the state of Florida and stuff, even.
Unless they're weighted and all that crap.
Anyway,
Would only be on the
I think
sidewalk.
Yeah.
so is this something the CD even needs to be involved in, the parade?
I think we'd like to be able to announce it as part of the event, but we don't wanna actually, we wanna.
He said, we don't wanna be involved, we wanna be
We don't
involved.
wanna have anything to do with it.
Well, maybe if, Janelle, if you're going to be posting certain things about events on Facebook, you can just kind of mention that this is also going to be going on, and, you know, it's not a CD sponsored event, but it's something that, you know, people in the neighborhood are planning to do.
Do you know somebody who, could I put up contact information, hey, if you want more information about the golf cart parade, then contact, you know somebody who would be willing to do that?
Somebody who's not on the board. though.
Yeah, somebody who's not on the board.
Who's associated us. It's just like a
Does
motorcycle.
anybody know?
Yeah.
I have an idea,
Okay.
Greg,
Oh, okay. I can talk to him.
they just got a card,
Oh, that's right, yeah.
he probably
So
knows
they're all
that.
fired up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what about the ornament? I think the ornament idea is really cute, and it's not that expensive.
And we have a lot of supplies here already.
And then, so the only thing we need to really decide on are the expensive things. A Santa and the sleigh picture,
Yeah.
Santa throne, inflatable sleigh.
I would say not this year. I would say if a professional photographer approaches us and says, hey, we have a sleigh and we have a Santa and, you know, whatever, then, and we'll charge people for their pictures, then.
I would venture to say
That would
if
be-
somebody puts that out on the social medias of the community, hey, photographers in the community would be willing to donate an hour or two every time to take some pictures.
But they also
But
But
want
what
to
do we
like
get
the
a
background,
picture with, yeah,
or, and
or
everybody
wait,
else
but there's
there.
the background back there, but the inflatable sleigh is only $250,
That's what I'm
that's
saying,
just a
$250
sleigh,
for a
right?
sleigh.
That's not a Santa.
No, yeah, it's just the one.
Yeah, I mean, Santa's, you're gonna look at upwards of $700 for a 3-hour event.
Sign me up.
I'll post tonight and see if anybody,
Clyde, you want me to say
I cannot grow my beard as fast as yours is growing.
we have a big fake one, it's all good.
Belly's too small.
There you go. Yeah.
so if we don't get anybody from the community who would be willing to participate, are we saying we don't wanna do a Santa?
I don't think it's worth the money, we're already, we've just got established now that we're over budget.
There's not for revenue, we're not over budget on this yet.
Well, what we can do additionally, I don't know if you thought about this, John, is additionally with the ornament, we can also do letters to Santa. And you can actually send these letters to the North Pole.
Yeah, we have a little like mailbox and it's letters, it's actually right at the front too, it's letters to Santa. And we can do like a craft idea.
That could be the craft of the ordinance, you know, I think that'd be great.
For sure. Okay, yeah, we can do about the Santa this year, see if we want to do next year, but are we okay with the inflatable? No.
And they could write up the cards too to the veterans, you know, adjacent to us,
Mm-hmm.
also, if they wanted to, do something, if they're interested. I'm not gonna push it.
So do we have anything where they can take pictures? That was one of their requests by the community, was someplace where they could do pictures.
Yeah, we can set it up in here, we have the backdrop, we have, these small trees, I'm gonna switch them out for the very large trees that are in boxes.
Okay.
And so we can use those, as well as any extra, we have much extra decoration. Use that to kind of make it into like a nice picture area, and we can have it in here. Really easy, yeah. Or if there's any other idea.
I think we would love to work with Janelle on this, going forward, it sounds like, we can get pretty involved in this, so. If you'd like to, I mean, I think.
You need to hire a credit line.
Well, I think.
Yes, but I'll be at the meeting, so, I mean, that's the other thing is if we just, once we find out how much we're getting from the HOA, I mean, do we want to consider maybe having a Santa or doing an inflatable sleigh if we decide we're getting enough money and you guys think that we could spend a little bit more?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're giving us perspective that we really haven't gotten before, which is community, what they're saying on Facebook. We're not on your Facebook page to see what the complaints are, what the praises are. So having that is absolutely invaluable. Yeah. But it's invaluable to have that type of information, so we'd absolutely love to work with you on this.
Okay, so do we need a motion for approval for an amount for this or no?
Well, do we wanna, I think it's just staff direction, and I mean, I think that's gonna be fine, it's not gonna be much, but it's staff direction to work with, Janelle on the, holiday event.
Okay, so are we, just as a clarification question, do we want to open up the golf cart parade to outside the community?
We'll let the residents coordinate that.
Okay, oh, right, yeah, okay, cool.
So for now, we can still say like, holiday backdrop for photos.
For sure.
Yeah, because if we're gonna use that backdrop, it is.
I tried to pick a very like just holiday themed one rather than like presents and, stocking.
Another thing that we do at another district is we leave that up for about a week after the event and invite people who weren't able to make it that day on down to take pictures,
That would be nice, yeah. I'd definitely be up for that.
So Janelle, are you gonna post looking for Santa?
Yeah, I'll do it tonight. When I get home.
I texted Chris about the charity party.
Okay.
Maybe we can find the budget, we can see what's left.
Until the third. Yeah. I think that we're around halfway, if there's just simply no HOA contribution, we're like halfway through the event's budget.
I think we know we're getting money, we just need to.
You'll be okay.
Right. No, of course, I'm just saying, I think it's under 5 for the fall festival so far, so that's where we're at.
Okay, cool.
Nice, the third quarter was good.
Alright,
would you hope to be sending out a communication once you kind of finesse?
I would love to be able to send it out by the end of the month of November, because I want to have it in the newsletter.
I would say
So, like-
hopefully sooner than that.
Like Thanksgiving ideally, but that's like next week, so.
Yeah, that's provided we get all the information
Yeah.
we need, the Santa set up, karaoke.
I wanted like the 29th is probably like the latest,
We can absolutely advertise ahead of time, like, hey, event is coming on this date, we'll provide the details
Yeah.
later, so at least the community knows that something's coming.
Thank you.
Awesome job, thank you for everything that you did. That's very, she does a very good job. I'm very pleased with everything that she's doing over here. I think you might enjoy being over here too, which is kind of nice too, though.
I do like it over here. The property is really nice. I love, especially outside. Whenever I do my maintenance walks, I take a little stroll. I love the community, especially the kids in the community. That's my favorite part. So, yeah. But that's my report.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's it for Phil, and then we're gonna pass this over to Brian, because we've got some, I know that you guys have been looking at these,
Yes, absolutely.
so we need to pick.
Actually, first thing on the agenda is the clubhouse storage. I'm pretty sure we touched on that. unless you wanted
We've
to
got
go
a
back
direction
into it.
what we wanna do with that, so
Great.
I think
We're moving past that. So next will be discussion of tile selection. So
oh. No, I think with the storage, I think we've got a direction we wanna do,
To
January.
get quotes, yeah.
January, February, I think we're,
Yeah, absolutely, I just wanted to make sure that was, we didn't want to add any discussion points. All right, so we are in the middle of getting the pool project done, so we actually got the first proposal approved by you guys. Now we're at the point where we get to pick what kind of tiles we want on it. So these would be the tiles that go on the steps, right on the step ledge. And these would be the tiles that surround your pool right underneath the coping. So my suggestion, you guys pick whatever you want, would be to go with a blue color of some sort and stay away from the green.
put the green away.
Looks like something
That
wrong.
board. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna remove this, so we're not looking at this anymore.
Was it Derek that sent that over, or which one of the guys sent that green?
Derek.
Derek, all right,
So essentially, you guys, I'm pretty sure these are the same thing, just two different tile formats, and then this would be the other one. And then obviously, we would- yeah, it would be default to this around your steps, so.
2000 call.
This is not,
what
part
is
of this yet.
what's that?
This is for splash pad, which we're gonna go over next.
What?
So,
Thank God you removed those.
if you guys want, here, take one of each, pass them down, feel the,
Brian, those are two different shades of blue, right?
yeah, it looks like it to me.
It's,
I mean, this one looks lighter, and this one looks a little bit darker. So I'll bring these over here.
There's so much stone like that.
Well, the thing to keep in mind, this is for the next 20 years, right? So the clubhouse is going to get painted once or twice in the next 20 years. Hopefully we don't have to do the roof. But at the same time, there's some warm and cool that's coming into that. So it's making sure we're picking something that can accommodate the warm and cool. I got that in the dark.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what other.
I don't really care, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you really narrowed it down. Just made sure we were gonna have much time to spend on this. Like, it's basically the same.
Pick one, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, those are the standard colors. I like the darker version, but again.
Super basic.
Yeah.
Do we have a date for this?
December 3rd is when the date's supposed, when the project starts.
And then when is the communication going out to the community?
As soon as we leave this meeting, we will get that formulated. We have to make one more decision on the splash pad, and we wanted to make sure that we have that included.
And, how long will the pool be closed?
Probably roughly around 45 days.
Oh, wow.
And that's on the longer stretch of things, that's provided with early vendors. That is with issues.
The pool's not heated, so no one's gonna be swimming in it.
Yeah, it's the best time of the day, so.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And are you gonna communicate how long it'll be closed when you come up with?
Yeah, I'll give them a general time frame.
Yeah.
Just so that they're aware.
Okay.
I don't want us to put an exact time frame out there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll put that in there.
I think it was 45 to 60 days was
Yeah.
a lot of time.
Yeah. That's what they regularly ask for, is 45 to 60, just for any, supply chain issues or
Yeah.
weather issues. But if everything goes perfectly, it's about 45 days.
Okay, what did you?
The lighter blue?
The lighter.
Okay. All right.
That was what was recommended by the RFP as well.
Take those from you guys if you don't mind. I'm getting confused here.
Yeah, there's no price difference, I assume.
No, no price difference at all. All right, so we got the light
Room moving forward with the blue tile, right?
Yeah, the light blue now.
Light blue.
I think there's a name on the back of there, like small big or something.
Yeah, see, this one's kind of faded. C1.
Oh, yes.
C1.
CE.
Yeah. Okay. So next, me and Glenn, had a discussion with the pool vendor about your splash pad. So we actually ended up splitting up the project into 2 projects just to bring this back to the board. So you guys actually have 2 options for the surface of the splash pad. And you'll see this in front of you, it's also in the agenda. I printed it out, just, for ease to see it. The first option is quartz, which is what you originally proposed, all right?
Is that what is out there now?
Correct. So the second option is what they call an aqua box, which is what you see right here. And I'll pass these around so you can feel them. It's rubbery and it's not dictated by wet and dry, right? So right now, with your splash pad not having any water over it, that sun beats down in it, it cracks. With this rubbery substance, that's less likely to happen, and it's also more forgiving for any children who are running on it, falling on it. But it's also a significant price increase. So the total isn't 41,000. Take that off. Don't even cross that out. Don't even look at it. It's either 12,000 or $29,544 for the Aquaflex.
Now, and that's just the floor.
That's just the floor.
And the structure itself is in good condition?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna take it off. I mean, unless you guys wanted to get that completely replaced.
No.
No, I think we want it back like working and everything's, because there is just added part of it, like how it's running.
Absolutely. I mean, we got that thing up and running before. I think we have one more thing to address, which is not keeping it on 24/7 like it was through the summer. But that's something that the pool vendor should be able to accomplish.
The only thing that doesn't work right now, if I recall, is the sensor.
The
Because
sensor,
we're having to keep it running, and
Exactly.
we're not deteriorating the surface any more than we have.
You need to get that sensor fixed, because over time what happens with that water, it just keeps running and then water evaporates and then it, pumps more in. Just to make it more efficient. If we're gonna get this fixed, we want the whole thing to be, it's a big investment, so if we can get with them to make sure that that's fixed with this price would be nice, but I don't know how extensive that work is with this
So
sensor.
we're gonna have what was colored re-powder coated by someone, right?
Mhm.
And what's the warranty on this product? The Flex one?
I believe it's a 10-year warranty on it.
I believe so too, but I can confirm that information.
I mean, for $30,000, it is a big area though.
So we've already approved the project, was it 12,000?
Correct. You've approved the quartz, and after me and Glenn spoke with them, we thought it was important enough to bring back to the board.
So where's the extra money gonna come from? Because I thought we were pretty strapped as far as big projects go.
Yeah, your capital reserves, so it's taken a tremendous hit. Rightfully, in many instances, you needed to replace the pool. You got your pool done for a lot cheaper than you anticipated, which is great. You're actually below that number, so you would, what you originally approved, I think what was the main pool, was 115? 115 with this. I think the original proposal was like 120,
130 or something.
130, something rather, so you're kind of in that range. Now, can you do this? You can absorb it, yes. You got to remember that you will be receiving, you do have built in your budget now, you have 116,000 in your capital reserves that you are going to be dumping in every single year going forward, which is great. Where is it coming from? The answer is it's still going to be coming from that reserve line item. There isn't anywhere else to pull it really from.
just,
You know, I don't know if any of you have been out to the splash pad recently, but it's cracked more.
Yeah, it's cracked more, and there's a whole big chunk missing out of it now, so, you know.
The side that got fixed is okay, the side that didn't get fixed is rough.
So Glenn, with your discussions, did this second option, the more expensive option, make way more sense?
100%. The way it was explained to us, and you know, like Brian had mentioned, whatever, if a kid falls on this, it's a lot different than a kid falling on the court stuff, so that they fall on this, they may or may not even have a scrape, or they fall on the other, they're definitely gonna get scraped.
That's asphalt based, you know, and then this is very rubber based.
Yeah, that's forgetting, not with just that, that's forgetting with the weather and heat.
Exactly. You don't need to have that wet all the time, and then worry about it cracking when it's dry, so.
And the integrity of the, like, the, you know, the flooring that's underneath this material, it's all good, right? And
We
I
don't know
even
that
what's
until we
underneath
get
it.
underneath the surface. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's good, and they're gonna do all the work to make sure that that's good before they put this on top of it.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, but until we get underneath that surface, there's really no telling what's underneath there. So that's why there's, you know, once they get into the project, they tell you, okay, if there's a change order here, we've already included this contingency into the contract, so, at that point, we'll know a little bit more.
It was, we were on the phone with the full vendor, and they were on the phone with the full, consultant.
Mm-hmm.
They were part of the project, and it came from both of them of, you don't want to do the courts, basically, for all the reasons we gave, that it was coming from not just the full vendor himself, who has vested interest into making us spend money, but the consultant himself, who doesn't have vested interest in making us spend money, is also interested in it.
So we originally approved around 130 for the total project.
Yep.
So it's really not that much. And you said it came in at
Well,
115.
it's,
Another $18,000.
yeah, I don't think that they were gonna actually fix the splash pad though, were they? It was in the original
The
quote.
OG vendor?
Yeah, the original, the Full Works, that
Yeah.
company. I don't know if the splash pad was included.
It was 150,000, I think, all of it.
Right, that was it. Like, I think the pool was 130, but the splash pad was like one.
I think all the proposals for both, they were separate scopes of work.
Right.
Right.
So we're under that cost with this, but it's actually an upgrade because they provided quartz,
Yeah, correct.
not this rubber.
Right.
And it's there, it's just, you know, leaning on caution, you know, I totally understand that, like it's, you know, it's more money, but is it something that's the district is gonna benefit better from if you're doing all these upgrades?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna
No.
last.
But if you're
Yeah, I
saving it
agree, it
long run.
probably needs to be done. Is
Is
there
there
an
a,
opportunity to do what we did with the playground vendor and say, hey, they really wanna be under this amount? Is there any way you can cut money off
I
of
think
there?
trying my best.
I know, it's not
My
gonna
understanding
be
was this was a pretty low price to start with,
Okay.
for them, but I will
We
contact
put
Derek.
them up on the phone.
We, yeah.
Or just prevent it from going any higher too, you know, like, I don't wanna be surprised if they open it up and like the truck really.
Oh, that's the last thing I want as well. If we can avoid it, we absolutely will, but.
They're also not gonna commit to anything, like not raising the price and
Yeah,
doing structural
right.
repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense to do it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask, I guess. if
Yeah, no, I'll get on the phone with them first thing in the morning.
10%.
We did save a little over 7,000, I think, with the playground, so I don't think we
Yeah,
did
we
that
have-
update because we
that's
haven't
true.
had a meeting,
That's
but
true, yes.
Brian
We
was
got it.
able to get them to come down almost a little over $7,000. It was just under 100,000 for the whole thing,
what did we set aside for that?
107.
107?
So we've got 7,000
I think-
extra that we could put.
What was it,
towards
98, 95?
Yeah, I had it written down.
Okay, well, that can, you know, whatever this helps
Well,
towards that.
yeah, did not work that out too, so I'm not gonna take all the credit.
No, you said the negotiating, but,
Put it in a
yeah, I think it
plastic
was 98 something. I
Yeah.
don't remember the exact number.
Yeah, we were able to get under 100, which was our goal, so,
Mhm.
you know, mission accomplished.
So at this point, do we have enough, we've had enough discussion, do we have much to approve the splash pad resurfacing, moving forward to option two?
Okay.
Reagan.
Sorry.
Jason, you realize the
All in
quote,
favor, all in favor?
the quote isn't valid.
What?
The quote states it was good for 30 days and that's passed.
We have a really good relationship with the vendor, yeah, we're good.
Also, they're on board land goal for that.
There's some emails back and forth.
Yeah, we're
Well, they know
good.
that.
Jack got
At the end of the day, if they turn around and say, well, no, we can't do it, it's changed, it's like, do you want the business?
Yeah.
They're not gonna, yeah,
I mean, we would have discussed this in October, but then but it's a good thing to get, when we get the contract drawn up, we'll have this, updated, so we'll get that.
Yeah, we've been in constant contact with that specific vendor, so they know what we've dealt with, they know the hurricane came through, so that they're very good to us in that matter.
We were chatting, emails back and forth on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't spell the city of Orlando correctly, now they're asking it.
Yeah, and can we make sure, can we get the information for the warranty?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
We can just, we'll throw our own form on this and just slap this to us, we'll have the warranty forms built in, and the warranty terms built in.
Can we get all of that stuff and we're gonna sign that tomorrow, so we can get it?
Yeah, it doesn't take that long to throw together the form. So.
They were very adamant on.
Yeah, you just give me the, you said it was 10 years?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
We'll find that, but yeah, yeah, I believe it's around there.
Okay, well, if they have a problem with it, they can always just send it back and
Yeah,
say it's
yeah.
something else, so.
Okay. 15.
Anything else?
You
do that. Yeah, it was, motion, yeah, it was all in favor.
I was assuming that, I didn't want to assume that, so.
Crash.
So everyone's in agreement, this
Well,
color.
that's soft rubber.
This color,
The
correct?
transcript is gonna be like,
Beautiful. All right, so.
Imagine for
Yeah, take a picture of it, it's probably easier. All right. And just,
Before we move on from there, do we?
no, I was gonna ask, just to confirm the playground installation date is,
It was supposed to start today, it's demo.
No,
Yeah, that's what I
demo.
thought too, and when I got here, I thought I'd see them working.
the gate is actually open
I
over
already
there?
told Fallon.
Okay.
we put the tab on.
Yeah, but they do have the sign up.
They
Did
did,
you
I
see
saw
the
that.
sign? Yeah, it's actually a better sign than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought we were just gonna put like a post,
Yeah.
with a picture. That was great, so.
And then you wanna just, so the playground is estimated, I think they said, pretty quick timeline, they said February, was that
The
right? Or
last
January?
week of January, the
Last
first
week,
week of February.
that's kind of impressive getting there, I think.
Yeah, it's usually a 4 to 6 month project, so I'm extremely happy that they're moving on that.
Can you guys send out an email about that for the community, about the timeline, like approximately?
Can we just get something?
Probably give them last.
We're hopeful
Focus
the end
on-
of January, I
set
think
the
they're
demo,
kind of, we're hopeful
then
they'll be
order.
open by the end of January. I
Possible
think
installation.
that's,
I would say February, I wouldn't tell them.
The big,
end of
like,
January,
we're
'cause-
hopeful that the park play area will be open by February, beginning of February.
Yeah, beginning of
I mean, that
February.
sign says coming to you January 2025.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we've already kind of given that expectation with that
Okay.
sign. So I'm sure Todd would like to stick to that as well.
Okay, can you double check with him tomorrow?
Absolutely. I've already requested a phone call as well.
Access system?
Do you have questions on access system?
So cameras are all done, right? Cameras good?
Camera's done.
Okay.
He was here working today. He said he was hoping to get it finished by today, but he grabbed me right before he left. He said that he's had to rewire every single reader, for some odd reason, but he said it'll be finished by tomorrow
Okay.
with the access.
While we're still on cameras, there was a camera on that corner.
Right.
Technically, it should be a shade session, there is one camera in the over that. I'd like to put one back up there.
Okay.
So can you have Thomas?
Yeah, if after the meeting, you'll show me exactly what that was, and then, yes, I'll communicate that with Thomas.
It shouldn't be expensive, so.
Right, yeah. Additionally, obviously, sunset time has changed. It gets much darker, much quicker. Your current schedule is 12 to 8. That's what we have, our staff working right now. Now, I know you guys are doing a lot more events, which will lead to later times sometimes, but I think, what we would be requesting, if we can change the schedule to a 10 to 6, 11 to 7, and then on days of those events, we can adjust our schedule to make sure that we're accommodating that.
Yeah, I agree.
So pool closes 1 hour before sunset, right?
30 minutes, so I think it's 5 o'clock.
Okay. So your recommendation would be 6 or 7?
Out 6, you know, give us an hour afterwards, make sure that the furniture is back in order, we can get our closing duties done, and she can knock it out the door at 6.
When would we communicate that change to the community, we're changing the hours from 12 to 8, 10 to 6?
Um,
Still when?
I probably would continue with our schedule for the remainder of this week at least, just because changing a schedule in the middle of the month is pretty tough.
Especially the access cards.
Yeah, especially with the access cards that's
Yeah.
going on,
So
so.
say December first,
Yeah, we can do December first.
what we can have now.
Yeah, no, that's completely fine. We can do, so start of December, hours are gonna change, staffing hours will change, obviously the floor remain open.
I know we had communicated to the community, the access card stuff with, someone would be available 12 to 8.
That's another question I had for you. Obviously, we're ripping off the Band-Aid pretty quickly with this. I know in the past, we had discussed doing some sort of event where there's 3 of us here and we're just kind of pounding them out. Is that something the board still wanted to explore? I mean, we're still getting people trickling in, we're getting people, how many would you say you've got in the system already?
10, I think.
Yeah, so we've got people coming in already. If you wanted to, we could probably do something in, the beginning of December, where we had myself, Prima, Kaylee, and Fallon out here, just kind of taking people's and getting them out.
It might be helpful to do that on a weekend.
Yeah, that absolutely would do that.
Like Saturday,
Yeah.
12 to 4, stuff out of the
Yeah.
courthouse, and, how can we incentivize them to show up? Get a cup of
Watch out
coffee
for
or-
Get access to the pool.
Yeah. I don't know, do you want access or not?
See it before we get it resurfaced?
I mean, to be fair, we do those events to help the community get access as quickly as possible, so there's not a lapse in service. But it's also gotta be important to them as well to get that done. So if you guys want to incentivize them, some big pizza, I don't think it's necessary, but if the board feels otherwise.
Not at that level.
So,
December 1st is a Sunday.
I will not be in town, so I get back on December 2nd, so preferably the weekend after that would be probably the most optimal time.
December the 7th.
Yeah.
For what?
The mass, bring the masses of people in to keep off.
And obviously, we still have an opportunity between now and then to come and get their new key fobs, if they don't wanna join the event and join the masses. But that would be the day that we just, we're here getting them out as fast as we can.
So Brio's up and running, mostly configured.
Mostly Brevo's up and running. We'll have it officially up and running tomorrow. As of right now, we're giving key cards for both for any new residents. If they're an old residents, they're gonna keep their card, and we'll just give them the new one so that they can access both for now until the new system's up and running.
What readers are,
I saw him, so the front door's not done. They're trying to figure out a wireless option for that, so they don't have to run wire through the walls. The other reader that wasn't done, they said it's having problems with his back gate right here on the side. And then other than that, I think he's pretty much wrapped up.
transport's done?
Is he going out there? I'll have to follow up with him. I talked to him very regularly today, but he said by tomorrow night that everything should be complete.
I know there's a lot of people that hit tennis courts early in the morning. So.
Yeah, someone asked me because they were going to play pickleball today. They asked me if they would still have access. I said, I definitely should.
And then he should be back here pretty soon in the morning. He wants to get this finished as bad as he guys do.
So, something to pass along to Thomas, I was enlightened by a resident the other day that if you hit the mag lock hard enough, it'll open.
Yeah, that's probably still, if that's the case, that's probably hooked up to your own system still.
But, yeah, this was like,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's what
I
we're
just
trying.
making sure that he,
Absolutely.
forethinking that, that if there's some sort of, mag lock's not strong enough, the power supply.
They're gonna have to replace it. I mean, that's the exact same thing we were dealing with on these back gates here a couple months ago. So, yeah, he's gonna have to change that thing out.
And then where are we with the phone app? Isn't there a phone app? I can't use. your
Mobile
phone.
passes?
Yeah,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, so
Sorry,
that, no.
app, pass, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I mean, we can get that going as soon as people come in. It's that quick. I mean, I'm doing it for another district right now. It takes about 3 seconds to get that set up. So it's one of
So
the
they've got the key fobs, did they also get the mobile pass, is that a free thing with it or not?
Nothing,
It's one of- it's
nothing's been communicated about mobile, anything.
Yeah, nothing, so basically it's one or the other. That's how we would advise you guys to do it. You can't, I wouldn't have people have a mobile pass and a key fob. It gets a little bit confusing, and at that point, they'd be paying for both. Because you get to a certain amount of mobile passes and the price raises 500, right?
Don't we need to be communicating that to that community then?
Yeah, absolutely. That was gonna be part of our communication.
Well, part of the shade testing, I thought we had specifically to that, we weren't gonna offer that, but.
I actually recall that too. She brought it up, so I thought I might have been.
It
It was
was something to be offered to employees, staff, us, but yeah, it wasn't gonna be offered.
We approved it.
It was included in the price as part of the whole package of stuff, that the 500 were included with the key fobs, but the decision was made that we weren't gonna advertise that to the community, because that was not, everybody got a key fob. The reason for the key fob different colors was for reminders.
Well, one thing that we're doing in other communities, is we're not allowing anyone 17 or younger to get a mobile pass home. So that way they have to have that red fob. Again, something to think about, you guys can always have mobile passes whenever you want, if that's something that you guys want to explore. But for now, if you guys want to test that out on the board members, how easy it works, if it's worth it, we can absolutely get each and every one of you a mobile pass. And then if you guys think that it's beneficial for the community, we can install that, or not install it, but we can get that for one of those later. I'll confirm that information.
No, I don't remember saying that.
There was a lot going on that week.
Yeah.
There really was, so, I'll confirm that information, I'll look at the minutes, I'll look at what we have in the contract, and I'll shoot you an email. That is all I had for, any questions from me?
All right, thank you very much. My pleasure.
Alrighty, obviously I've been given my directions for following up with Cardinal, providing you guys a breakdown of the hurricane cleanup that's been approved already, and where we currently sit with that expenditure. Ultimately, we've had some healthy discussion this evening, so I think to start with, we've got a good direction where we need to go with our items. But what I have, I've got a motion to approve the check register for September. Just to bring back, I will be following up with Stantec on their invoices, and I will be including Regan with that, so we can look at the descriptions. If you see on their descriptions, it's just general consulting. That's not good enough. There's not a real understanding of what that is. So that's for September and October, because I do see two. But
Okay, I have a couple of questions before we approve. $150 was paid to Getz for monument cleaning back in January. Was there a reason it wasn't paid before now?
He did
Or-
invoice it.
Okay, has he invoiced us? Didn't he do the power washing out front for the clubhouse a couple months ago or over the summer?
It's mine, so they're gonna put up with mine.
I thought he did the sidewalk outside the clubhouse. He did the sidewalk outside the clubhouse, maybe not Getz. So has he invoiced us for that?
so when was that?
That was in the summer.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
so the invoice, this is September, so we're going back to September, so September, so we're now approving it in November. That's the invoice that I see for September.
His
No,
invoice
this
is
was from
January.
January. The invoice, the $150, that's from back in January.
I have to, I'm just trying to scroll through, find out.
It's okay.
I can tell you, I can look into it.
Yeah, that's fine,
He
I just
He
wanna,
didn't invoice is what it was.
yeah, and I just wanna make sure if he's waiting 9 months to invoice us, that somebody reaches out about the work he did out front. And honestly, I would be hesitant to do so in the future if he's not gonna bill us for 9 months.
That's
Also,
understandable, 9 months is a long
yeah,
time.
that's way too long.
Everything else was on.
I mean, for all we know, he was paid using the expense card at that, you know, way
Yeah,
back then,
exactly.
I have no idea, so.
He was.
Also, the September waste management bill doesn't look like it was paid on time, we got a cancellation notice, was there a reason that was delayed in getting paid or missed getting paid?
Let me just review, just.
And you don't have to answer, I mean, you
No, I
don't have to
just-
answer
yeah.
tonight, I just, well, I'm the one that cut the budget, so I'm looking at everything. There was an invoice for fast signs, but it didn't, Brian, were the $600, those are signs for the board meeting, are those
Yeah.
just the CDD signs, or were those HOA too?
No, just CDD.
Just CDD?
Yeah, we have plenty extra, so, we got some just in case some get damaged.
Okay, and then my last question is, on the Spectrum bill, we're paying almost $100 a month for business TV. Is that being utilized?
I think you guys are getting a package right now, but we can look into see if they have any other promotions that are.
Yeah, there's $100 a month for business TV plus $25.75 for, which is a broadcast TV surcharge, so we're paying almost $1,500 a year for TV.
So what it was, I can tell you, we'll give them a call, absolutely, but what's happened at other.
Brian had a conversation with Spectrum a couple of months ago.
And they said, and if you try to take it, if you take it away, you pay more.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's a bundle. So if you take away a service, you actually end up paying more for the singular service because we are classed as a commercial account, we can't get a residential rate.
Okay.
Have you looked in front of you?
Yeah, or any Verizon or T-Mobile, or, I mean, everybody offers that at this point.
Sure, I would just say that your access system and camera system are gonna heavily rely on your internet, so it's important to have, you know,
Really good.
really good internet, and I think Glenn can help us out with that, with his IT experience, so.
Definitely,
we'll work with,
definitely look in front of you.
yeah, we'll, okay, we'll look in the Frontier, I got it in my notes now to see if they can give us any better service or better prices, and
Or even,
Everybody would have to have something.
yeah, and we don't have to do it this month. I mean, again, this could probably wait until February, but yeah, I think it would be good to get multiple quotes from different.
You got two options, you got Spectrum,
That only do commercial, they're the only two to do commercial?
they're the only that are available in the area. If that, you're going wireless, and wireless can't sustain the cameras.
And if you take the TV off, I understand you're paying more, but are you paying $1,500 more a year? If you take that off?
I can
Well, we look
provide that
at-
information to you.
Okay, thanks. Are you done paying Curtis?
Yes, that was the last invoice.
Okay, thank you. That's not, I'm done.
Alrighty.
Picture.
So that was a motion to approve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that a yes to approve?
Motion.
Alright,
Second.
second by Janelle, all in favour?
Uh,
Alright, motion passes, and then the next one I'll be looking for is motion to
Motion.
approve the October.
Same.
Motion to approve. Then, Janelle, all in favour? Alright, motion passes. Next item for our review is supervisor's request, general audience comments. We start with supervisor's requests. Glenn, I think we covered your, mainly for the engineer. Anything else?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do this one. Basically just want to throw out there, we own the ticket booth area and all that or whatever. And I think it's actually a historical landmark.
It is.
We should look into keeping it maintained. We should probably look into the roof, we should probably look into some windows, we should probably look into locks, maybe some cameras. But as a historical landmark, it needs to be preserved.
Is that something that we get like a, you know?
There's probably grant money out there for that.
What?
There is probably grant money out there for that.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Alright.
You want to take the lead on that?
Sure.
No?
No, sure.
And just to confirm, the area is called it's right up front, what do you got, what do you call it?
It's the OG ticket booth to when it was Dupree Gardens a bazillion years ago, back in the 30s, 40s. And, yeah, it's probably historical size old, there's a ton of documentation out there on it. And then after the tree fell off the other day, that was kind of we should probably look into, preserving that, so. There may be some kind of legalities of us not preserving it, we run through that. Or anything like that, or?
No, I'm not aware of it, I can certainly look into it though.
I just wanted to, if something happened and the tree falls on again and it all collapses.
I need to look at the actual designation, before I,
There's a big block out there.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it.
Alrighty, any more supervisors requests?
I just have a question. Where do we land, we discussed, like I asked about Turtle Island, the foam thing. Did we ever?
We didn't have an October meeting yet.
Yeah, so where did we land with that? Did we make a decision on
I think it opens, no, you kind of discussed it, and I think it was the direction that I remember was, it was not aesthetically gonna be a great thing to have in the community. You might, if you're gonna have that out there and you entertain that, like, I know it's a wonderful idea for the habitat, but, it's gonna turn into, hey, what's that sticking out there? What is it? What is that floating out there?
that?
Is the board okay with, does the board want to move forward with it, or like
No.
re-entertain it? I think it was,
No, I just wanna make sure that we come to a decision, and I don't know who was supposed to be reaching out to him, or if anybody's reaching out to him,
I
but.
think you would reach out directly to Jason.
He reached out to me first, and then I got put in contact with Jason, gave Jason all the info.
I can provide him information saying that at this time, No.
Because it's like a precedent,
Well,
I would
the
say,
little turtle thing or whatever, so it's when the water levels were low, and his idea was he found
it
this
was like a real.
creation in the
Floating dock or
It's
whatever.
Yeah.
long, yeah.
We could pollute the water and.
I think it's one of those, other residents that have thought about doing these things, they said, well, you need to maybe live on your own pond
Yeah.
and do it there, I think, because it might be a great thing, but then it could be an epic failure, and you don't
Yeah.
want to deal with that. So
No,
that's,
I appreciate
that's
them
what
actually
I-
asking.
and I've heard that in other districts, not about this floating dock, but it was actually other things for birds and things
Yeah.
like this before, but that's what their response was.
We were bringing that up, somebody, you talking about
Bat
birds, somebody brought up the, most of the bat houses, I don't know how long they've been around, but most of them, not all of them have deteriorated or fallen.
Well, it's funny that we had that university helping us with bat boxes down in Hillsborough County. They were great, and then they all fell down during the hurricane.
Yeah.
So, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
Do you want us to see a good proposal for that? It's quite an expense. I think one bat box, believe it or not. It's a chamber. They're about anywhere between $2,500 and $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because 400 or 500 of bats can fit in one of these boxes.
Oh, our boxes were like,
It looked like a little bird box.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. No, that will fit like 200 of them.
Oh, the one we have are like little wooden bird houses.
I think we're
so it's.
let's look at this into the end of the fiscal year once we got more of a budget for it and appetite maybe for bats.
Yeah.
I'm good on that, we got a lot.
Maybe they move south to Hillsborough, I don't know.
And then my last question is, where do you stand on the guy who wanted to run the tennis courts for lessons?
Good question. Oh, that's a question for me?
No, for
Well, it's either you or
Right, no,
Jason
right, I
looked at you,
mean,
so I looked at you.
no, right, I mean, so what, I actually wasn't here when it was presented, so I don't actually know what the major considerations were.
He wanted to.
He wanted to do Saturday sessions, cause he's been by here before, he says, again, I don't know if it's true or not, but he comes by early because he has sessions at other properties that pass by here, and he says there's hardly anybody, if nobody here at the tennis court. So early mornings, doing children's and adult sessions from 9 to 12 essentially. There'll be 3-4 sessions.
If I recall correctly, the board didn't want to move forward as they thought that Saturday and Sunday mornings were
Yeah.
probably the most popular times to go, especially in the summer with it being a little bit cooler, so,
Yeah.
you know,
that, and we hadn't set the pricing and all that.
exactly, yeah.
He's,
So that was my understanding was that.
That's what I remembered as well.
Yeah,
yeah, he's open to other days if you want to do like a weekday, like an after school, because most of his clients are children.
Can we throw it out to the community of, would you be interested in paying, obviously, for tennis lessons?
yes, absolutely. We actually have, email blast system lets us do a poll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can get a good gauge of who's interested and who's not.
You get 100 people, it's like, yeah, that's great, let's do it.
Yeah, let's try it. I
Five
mean,
people.
it doesn't hurt to try it, and if it doesn't work, you know, we can make that decision pretty quickly from there.
Well, it's another potential revenue stream of, like, in the event budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he agreed to whatever 10% of,
Okay.
yeah, so, yeah, I'll reach out to him, or we'll make the survey and see what it is, and
I did hear back from Chris England,
oh, yeah, I have the information, so, what'd you say?
he's good to go for the 20th.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll, reach out to him, get the contact, but I'll let you know. Okay.
Any audience comments? Yes, ma'am.
Terry Zimmerman. My first question is pertaining to the median. When you come off of Queen Anne Lace, the ornamental grasses are gorgeous. You can't see, like, I have a smaller car. Even if someone else has a smaller car, you can't see them, and there's already been almost accidents you can't see.
Queen Anne goes across both ways, which side, Terry?
This side that we're on now.
I was making sure I was thinking of the same place, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
What's
it's,
the road called? Queen?
Queen Anne Lace.
Yeah.
It's like Queen Anne's Lace Way. Oh, and you said ornamental grasses, not the shrubs, not the.
No,
No,
it's
it's
the tree
ornamental.
grass.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, but I wanna be able to see if someone's turning.
Yeah.
I don't wanna,
Yeah, it's another area that FDOT would.
Everything's being so big.
if you can't see.
Especially after the summer.
Can
Thank
you
you.
work with Mike on
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
that? Did you have something, another question?
go ahead, Terry. Was there anything else? You said that was my first question. I thought
That was my first question. My
Okay.
second one is kudos on the signs. I can see them for the meeting tonight.
Oh,
Fantastic. Instead of trying to drive and see a little sign that is like, huh? And I'm trying to worry about driving. That was great. And I just want to say too, I was very sad for Veterans Day, that the flags weren't up. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like kind of,
I know that that was gonna be a discussion that I
Yeah,
think
that's pretty much.
we put that in, I know we discussed a lot, but going forward with that, I think the board's idea when it comes to, scheduling something on like on a calendar on events such as, the flags for different events and things like that, so we can actually put it on a schedule that staff and the board members can coordinate who, we're gonna start coming up with a plan for that. Ultimately, it wasn't, there wasn't put on amenity staff, it was kind of, or it was unfortunately forgotten, by mistake.
Because we had new amenities staff and we totally dropped the ball and didn't tell them to do
yeah.
that. They
Right.
didn't
That's
know.
like a slap in the face to the veterans.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of them in here.
About that.
Right.
We don't need them up before our December meeting, right? There's no,
Better for the
the
flags?
flags.
No, I mean, I sent out a schedule to maintenance Clayton just as a preliminary thing for
Okay.
Memorial Day, Fourth of July, Veterans Day,
Labor Day.
Labor Day as well as included in that. And if there's any more that I'm forgetting about or that you guys want them up for, please provide those to us so that we make sure that we're not.
Could you just put that in our next?
Flag Day as well, yeah, that's
on
a
the
good
next
one.
agenda.
Yeah, in the next agenda packet of what you.
The calendar that we have?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then if we need to add anything to it, we can.
Okay,
cover
yeah,
it
not a
there.
problem.
I had one more, and I apologize that, I forgot to ask about, but do you want to finish audience comments first?
Yeah, let's do that. Any more audience comments?
I just have one. I'm so sorry I missed the beer garden. I'm like upset about it, but I'll be there next year. Has anyone else brought to your attention that the mass emails and monthly letters are not opening correctly?
No?
Because every month, my husband has to send it, for whatever reason, he gets an error when he opens it. So I don't know if, because you said, well, people aren't seeing things, maybe this is part of the problem, you're just not hearing it?
I think that's part of the big problem, I mean.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, every month, he cannot open the newsletter. And I guess because you only have one email per family, I don't get it at all. He has to send it to me.
Yeah, there's not one
Yeah.
email per family.
Well, that's when we first moved here, it was one email per,
Oh, yeah, no, we can put as many
So,
as we want.
I don't get it at all, and he
Come on
gets,
down when, whatever the meeting is.
he gets
I
it,
had asked the board that question about adding me, and when you go to do it, you have to remove the first person that's there,
What, pertaining to your address?
to the email
Who
address.
told you that?
Yeah, who told you that?
People that were here before.
Okay, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, explains it.
Yeah, we can add as many emails into that system as we possibly want,
Okay.
yeah.
so dual problem. One, only he gets it.
Uh-huh.
Second problem, it doesn't open for him, so I don't know what that, because it opens from, when he forwards it to me, it opens for me.
you.
Yeah, maybe I.
It
So
could be-
maybe you're not getting communication, because people are like,
Well, I think it could be a browser issue. One, we're gonna be going through this community reset here in December 7th, which will give us all updated information, and that's gonna give us a chance to kind of go into the systems, update that information, so that could work as well. But we definitely wanna get to the bottom of that for you. So if next time that happens, if you could take a picture of it for me.
every month.
Okay, if you could take a
Every
picture
single
of that
time.
for me, and then I can actually reach out to my IT
Sounds like a
department.
really easy
Yeah.
fix though, right?
Yeah. And if anybody's gonna be using the correct browser, it's my husband, because that's what he does for, like,
Got it, okay,
yeah.
perfect.
I mean, me, I'd be the idiot, like, looking at Explorer, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. No,
it would be him,
no,
not.
we wanna get to that, to the bottom of that.
So
for you,
just wanted to let you know.
Absolutely, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And we encourage any residents having issues with anything in the district to come up to us and let us know, whether reach out to me, let Fallon know. You know, it really helps us out to hear your guys' perspective right then and there. I hate to have to wait to a board meeting and get this stuff off of Facebook from Janelle, you know. We wanna address your guys' concerns as quickly as we
I don't
can.
complain on Facebook, that's
All right,
total
all right,
Karen
good.
mentality.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so there was a question about people in the community using CDD equipment like the bingo, or the popcorn machine. We don't currently have, that's not communicated out, and we don't currently have any agreements, so what if we don't get the equipment back? Or what if it breaks? So I just wanted to, we don't have to discuss it tonight, but probably by the next meeting, I'd like to at least put it on the agenda to discuss who we're allowing to rent and if we should at all. Because we don't really have the money to replace that kind of stuff, and we have very, very few things that we can do for free for the community right now, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking for my opinion on the matter, I think that the CDD should keep their stuff and use it for CDD events. When you start using it, you don't know how they're using it, how they're treating it when it's in, I mean, we could possibly make it available as part of a rental for the room. And that way we can have staff kind of keep an eye on it while they're here. But if you're asking them to take it off property and use it for their personal event at home, I would strongly suggest that that's not a good idea.
Yeah, no.
Well, what brought that up? So I gave you back.
I'm sorry?
I said I'll give you the background on what brought that up. Was that, it had been done previously for Pine Middle School, but then we used bingo equipment. And we came on, asked to use it again this year, it was sure, no problem, whatever. And the popcorn machine thing was, if you're gonna have a conversation about the movie, and lots of time, so.
Got it. Yeah, that's my best opinion on the matter. I mean, once they leave site, you never know if you're gonna see it again. I mean, you charge someone a deposit and, you know, it's not gonna be made up for what you paid for it, so. If you guys wanna allow it, we can actually work with them on something, but. Yes. I think it's a rabbit hole.
I think
that
that's
you
just
might
a
not
start
want to open
direction
up.
rather
Yeah.
than further discussion, right? I think that's, we just won't open it up. Next item that we got is your next regular meeting is scheduled for December 17th. Typically, Dupree Lakes is not met in December because of people traveling. I know a lot of my staff are going to be traveling. I will not be at this December 17th meeting because my wife's having surgery the day before, so I won't be here. If you do choose to have a meeting, you'll be stuck with Brian. Well,
We can have Darren.
Well, Darren might come down. He might want to come down. I don't
I haven't
know.
seen him.
Yeah, he could come down. Board, are you wanting to conduct your December? Well, what we could do is tentatively have it open, and then if there's, in the event, I know we've got a bunch of things going on, I've been told that I need to provide updates on all the items. And if, in the event that we can provide that where the board's comfortable, then, you know. Well, no, you guys asked for it, and I'm gonna provide better. Yeah, you did.
Honestly, I think we should have it.
Yeah, I
We've
do
missed
too.
so many this year, and we keep having these 3-hour long meetings, and
Yeah.
I don't want another 3-hour long
Yep,
meeting in
that's-
January.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll leave
I
it,
think we need to.
yeah, we'll leave it open unless there's anything that changes. Ryan, if you can cover that for me, that'd be great. I will be in attendance via Zoom if you need me.
It's on 12/17.
December 17th.
Supposed to be a hockey game.
Oh,
well.
Oh, you might miss your second meeting, huh?
No, I might just take that without phone, family.
Yeah.
Impossible to hear Glenn, just hear the horn in the background.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Alrighty. All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, motion passes. Time is 9:17 p.m. Alrighty.
I have an offer for your question, Brian.